cool.
Happy gloomy Saturday, everybody.
Yeah, it's that weird over here. It's the weird sort of Florida thing where it literally storms for like I should have counted it, but it really felt like 8 minutes at most. And now it's still gloomy outside, but now it's like it's not storming, but it probably will storm again in like 10 minutes. So
Yeah, that's what we're
yeah,
looking over here in New York too, man. It's windy. It's like overcast. I'm ready. As soon as I woke up, I was like, oh man, today's a Final Fantasy 14 kind of day. But I got a tournament
yeah.
prepared for, so it ain't gonna happen for a little
Uh,
bit.
Be, be honest though, every day's a Final Fantasy 14 day for you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. It's on the schedule every day. It's on the mind
Right,
waves all the time. Let me
exactly.
see. Let me check the audio stuff, and if you want to handle any other backend stuff, then we can get started.
Yeah, yeah.
All
I'm
right,
just
cool.
putting a thumbnail together and then yeah, but I mean we can start after you're done. Um, yeah, let us know how we sound before we get started here. No Walt, so oh man. Um,
All right, we sound good. We're good. Thankfully, the online class isn't. It doesn't sound like it's impeding. So probably just like a Zoom call or something, which takes like less bit frame stuff like that.
so
Yeah, we
yeah,
sound good.
let's get started before before any weird shenanigans does happen though.
True, true.
All right, cool. So guys, welcome to the 69th episode of the DualShock and the Sense Podcast. I am your host Soul, the connoisseur of anime wife, who's joined by we have only two-thirds of the usual suspects today. We have Macho here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on, everybody? It's the King of Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy fanatic. It's it's been one hell of a week, man. That's for sure. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I
I
bet.
don't. I know it was a surprise that we're we're not having the other person in the podcast today. Mr. Seal, Mr. Walt the Seal. Where are you, buddy? He's on Puerto Rican time right now.
Maybe if you make that noise a little louder, then it will summon him. It'll be a call, like
You
a
might
bat signal in Gotham.
you might wake up.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, no, it's I first of all I want to apologize for being late, man. I was trying to get
Nah,
some
you're good.
Dunkin' before the podcast, and then I kid you not, man, the line was like stupid long for the drive-through. It's like, all right, I'm just gonna go like actually in the store, my pajamas, go like all looking all raggedy and
Yeah.
not presentable. I'll just say, like go and order my stuff, get my hash browns, I get my fancy matcha tea, right?
Yeah.
I walk out and I realized I didn't get my fiance's Boston cream donut that she wanted.
Oh no.
So I had to drive back, and I was like, "Fuck! I can't go back to the to our place and not bring the donut. It's just a no. You don't do that, guys. You bring the
Yeah,
donut."
yeah, yeah,
So
for
I
sure.
went back, had trouble finding a parking spot, and eventually got the donut. But man, I was just like, dude, why now? God's testing me. But I'm overall I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It was a week full of surprises and epiphanies, and I feel excited. So I'm ready to do this podcast and talk about what's been going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Before we start, I want to remind everyone to go ahead and like the podcast, share it out, get the good word, the good news of the Dual Shock and Sons podcast out there. We would greatly appreciate that. Um, so yeah, man, let's get started with talking about some of the games or the things that we've been doing this past week. Macho, something absolutely incredible happened this past week.
Hmm.
Uh,
Do tell.
so as you know, this year I've been discovering my DC sort of love, right? I've been ever since the Batman, Matt Reeves Batman. I've been I went to all three Arkham games. I've been rewatching the Nolan movies. Been watching a lot of animated stuff. Uh, Really fell in love with the Harley Quinn animated series. Um,
Yeah.
and then just recently started watching the DC animated universe stuff with Flashpoint and then the Apocalypse War, and now I'm watching Son of Batman. Um, But then, probably my favorite out of all these things that I've been watching is Young Justice,
Yes, sir.
and it just out of nowhere, season 4 dropped on Amazon Prime.
Wow.
Um, yeah, like it was weird because so yeah, like I'm making my way through Son of Batman right now, and which is great because I didn't know, that he actually has that Damien is actually Talia's kid. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, so that was a cool little revelation for me. But that stuff aside, so yeah, like I was just on Amazon Prime, like about to go and watch the rest of that movie, and then I see like right next to that movie is Young Justice Phantoms, and I'm like, what? Like I was totally, because I was totally of the expectation that I was gonna have to go to HBO Max to finish, the rest of Young Justice. Lo and behold, it finally came over to Amazon Prime. So I'm like, fuck yes, dude. Like literally just right on time after finishing the Umbrella Academy and whatever other show that I was watching. Oh, and The Boys, obviously. After those, like I'm like I was in need of something else to watch, man. So this literally dropped at the perfect time. And I don't know if you've watched Phantoms already or
No,
not.
not yet. No.
So what's really interesting about this season, in comparison to the past Young Justice seasons, is that the way that this is structured is in little like individual arcs with the main crew. So each of the main crew has like little 4 episode like story arcs. Um, so instead of like, well, this could change by the end of the season, but so far the impression I get is instead of one overarching like bad guy or baddie or whatever, um I forget who. So like if I remember correctly, so like the first season of Young Justice was like dealing with the Light and Vandal Savage, I believe.
Yeah.
That may
Yeah.
be that may be season 2 or something, I don't know. But then I think season 2 was all about the Reach, right? And like Jaime Reyes and all that stuff with the Reach and the Scarab and all that stuff. That's literally like the plot for like the entire season. With Phantom specifically, it's like, okay, the first 4 episodes is Miss Martian and Superboy's arc. It's about them in their wedding, and it's literally just focused on those two characters and Beast Boy as they're off in Mars, dealing with their wedding, and like all this shit is going down on Mars, and Martian Manhunter is involved over there as well. And you get to meet a lot of the Martians and Miss Martian's family as well. Um, there's some villains unique over to that area, right? So that's arc 1. And then I think arc 2 is Zatanna. So it's like all about her. So like the next 5 episodes is specifically like Zatanna focused.
Oh,
And
nice.
then
That's funny.
yeah,
When I'm rewatching the first season, I just came across Satana too. I was wondering if she was coming back.
yeah, because she was really, and it's weird because like there was like some romantic stuff going on between her and Robin, and then like after that, like
Yeah.
she's barely in the show
Yeah,
again.
because he was digging her in the first season. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I was too. She was a cool character.
Yeah, yeah, she's dope.
Um, yeah, that made me really happy that she's like, it feels like she's like a main integral part of the season again. Um, yeah, so like I believe the next arc is Zatanna's arc, but then like Artemis has an arc that's solely focused on her for like 4 or 5 episodes. Nightwing has one as well. Rocket, who I'm not like too familiar at all. I feel like we've barely gotten screen time with her, but she has an arc as well. Of course,
Nice.
Calder has one. And I believe that's it because yeah, like I said, it's like the main like original like Young Justice group from like season 1 plus like Rocket.
Yeah, I was
So
nice about
yeah,
Aqualad too, because I know he has some influence in like later seasons, but I don't know like the full extent of it.
yeah, yeah. I said Calder, so
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
so
See, I forgot his first his real name. I gotta
but
start
yeah,
watching it
so
again.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, he has one as well, of course. So yeah, I just think it's a really interesting structure for this season, that it's not like an over, I mean, maybe it could be by the end of this entire season, maybe there's like one big bad that they have to all come together to fight, but it's really interesting that it's like it's taking these characters and like kind of separating them and having them deal with their own problems, like it's like standalone almost like comics for each of these characters that take 4 to 5 episodes to finish. And I don't
Hmm.
know. I think it's really really interesting. Um, and like I don't know, like so far, because I'm only 3 episodes in, and so far like the vibe of the season feels like I don't want to say eerie, but like I'm on the edge of my seat, like not in well in a good way because like it's really really good, but in a way of like I don't feel like good. Like I'm more than ever I'm feeling that something bad is really gonna happen this season so far.
Okay.
Because like this first arc, like I said already, it deals with Miss Martian and Connor going off to get married on Mars, and like that, and obviously we know when feasts or weddings or things of that nature, like I don't know, it's like things never go right or as planned when things like that happen.
For
So
sure.
like I don't know, and stuff has already been going down, and like I don't know, I'm just on the edge of my seat because Superboy, like he's not on Earth, so like his exposure to radiation is like lessened. So like the thing with him in this arc is that like he's like severely weakened. When he gets hit, it actually like fucking hurts him. Like he doesn't heal as well as he does on Earth and stuff like that. So like just that alone, I'm like every time he gets hit, like you feel it, right? Like
Yeah.
it feels like there's consequences every time he's in battle or whatever because he can't rely on how he is on Earth or whatever. So like just that alone is pretty scary. Beast Boy is going through some mental stuff in this season already, just 3 episodes in, after the events of a prior season. So he just makes me fucking nervous at all times, man. He's just like I don't know, man. He's losing it. Um, and yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just really on edge with this season, and again, I'm only 3 episodes in, which is insane. But yeah,
Eventually, you have to learn what the sub name means, right? Phantoms. That has
yeah,
some sort of clue to
right,
this like mystery
right.
or whatever.
I wonder what that means, man. Um, so yeah, man, it's an exciting start. I'm really really excited for this season. Um, I went on Reddit to see like how is everyone ranking these individual arcs, and it's pretty much been like unanimous that Artemis's arc is like the best out of the bunch. So I'm really really looking forward to seeing
Interesting.
what Artemis goes through this season. So
She was
yeah,
always the one that
definitely.
had the most interesting. Well, all of them have really interesting backgrounds, and like from the first season.
Yeah,
But Artemis was definitely the one that had like a multi-layered story to it with her sister and like basically her entire family. So,
right.
really, yeah,
I
that'd be
love.
cool. It's cool, man. I'm glad to see she's
Yeah,
still in there.
yeah. I love Artemis, man. She's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Um, and like and then the stuff that happened with her like last season as well, like her the way her character arc kind of came full circle. I won't get into specifics, but she really came full circle last season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like how they expand upon that character in this season. But yeah, man, Young Justice Fandoms is off to a really really good start. I'm really looking forward to seeing what else they do. Um,
Cool.
so yeah, that is Young Justice. But the big thing that happened to me this week, Macho, it finally happened, man. It finally happened.
Hmm.
Um, I got converted into the Church of Elden Ring.
Oh man.
Um,
Hopefully, with a rhyme and reason here. You're not a hopeless fanatic like some other people in this podcast.
oh man. See, this is why I wanted him in here because I really wanted to have like a big open discussion about this game.
Yeah.
Um, but we could probably wait for that until next week. But um, yeah, so I'm like 40 hours into it. It has like completely just like taken over my life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I guess the biggest thing that I'll say is like this isn't Dark Souls 4. This is goddamn Dark Souls 4, 5, 6 all together in one package, man. Like the sheer uh size of this game is absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's both its greatest strength and its greatest weakness.
Yes.
Just how big this game is. Um,
Oh, it's also
it's
what's up, Gene? He said pervert it into the Church of Elden Ring.
who said that?
Gene.
Um, what's up, man? Um, I so and again, I'm obviously nowhere near finishing this game, but like I don't know if I want From to do another game like this again. Um,
Hmm.
I would rather like to me so far the best parts of this game are the legacy dungeons, right? The Stormvale Castle, the Academy of Raya Lucaria,
Yes. Yeah.
the Volcano Manor, like all that stuff is like the stuff that's classic Dark Souls to me is the best parts about this game. But also the exploration is really damn good in a sense of like this game is literally the embodiment of, hey, you see that thing off in the distance, you can go there. Like it is literally the embodiment of that saying. And I absolutely love like it is what I recommend with Horizon all the time. Like turn off the map, the mini map or whatever, um, or the compass or whatever it is, and just let your curiosity take you in whatever direction you want to. And it's very much the same thing here, man. Like I just like the amount of things that that I'm just like galloping around and I see, on a cliff or see, off in the horizon. I'm like there would be times where like I have a plan in mind and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and do this, and then I'm like, I'm like I don't know, like a squirrel or a dog or something, and I'm like, ooh, what's that? And I just veer off where I was going and I go and in favor of that instead. Um, so yeah, the game is really good about that, and like just like the creativity with this game is like there's no limit to it. Like the amount of things that um like the like specifically like the underground cities, the I think it's called like the Soifra River or something like that. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
entire like civilizations like entire like other maps underground that you can go out and explore, which is ridiculous. I also really love like and this goes back to like the exploration stuff, is that like how do I explain this? So like there was this time that I was just like in Limgrave just galloping around, and I went off to a beach, and there's literally this horde of skeletons just like walking like towards the water as if I don't know, they're going out to the water to look for something or whatever. But I love like just those little moments, or there's another moment that there's like this group of like three spirit jellyfish surrounding this corpse that's like sitting in a chair, and the guy is just like overlooking the ocean or whatever, and it's a dead body, but it's just like someone just like died, like with in front, like his last view before he died was just him looking out the ocean. And I don't know, it's like these three jellyfish are just like guarding his body or whatever. But it's like what I really love in games like these are little like moments like that are unexplained. You're not told why these zombies or whatever are all huddled together in a horde walking out towards the ocean. You're not told why this guy, chose to, with his remaining time on Earth, to, spend it out looking the ocean or whatever, and having being his dead body protected by three jellyfish or whatever. It's like things like that go unexplained that just makes your mind wonder. Is like the most incredible thing. Like those little moments are what I love about open world games, and this game absolutely exceeds at just having those little moments peppered in. You don't need everything to be a quest line. You don't need everything to be a talking NPC or everything to be thrown at you with exposition or whatever. Like sometimes things can just be super vague and just like you fill in the blanks for yourself. Like that is the ultimate like having your curiosity just like I don't know, like satiated or filled or whatever. And like I don't know, I absolutely adore those moments um with this game. um so I guess let me talk about some of my negatives, and I guess like we can get really deep into it when Walt comes back, because I really wanted his opinion about this specifically.
Hmm.
Um, but okay, how do you feel about the bosses in this game?
Um, well, it was actually one of my first complaints playing the game that the smaller dungeon bosses lacked so much impact that I wasn't expecting that.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to like what you're talking before, like sometimes like these really subtle story moments are the best kind in these games. And so I was expecting that kind of thing in Elden Ring like throughout, and it wasn't that wasn't the case. But when it came to the actual main bosses, those were events. Those were like, this is why I play Dark Souls games or like Dark Souls like games. And this is why this game is going to be, up there. But eventually you can just kind of get off the honeymoon phase, and like when you start comparing to stuff like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3, then you're like, it's great, but like, is it really that great kind of thing? So I don't know. We can get more into it when like when Walt's here, but like so far it's kind of like my takeaway was like the little bosses were like cool, and then the bigger bosses were a lot more like, oh yeah, this is actually pretty dope.
Yeah. Um, I I agree. And this is where I was saying that Elden Ring's size is its greatest strength, but also its greatest weakness because um, going back to the bosses, um, so we have, and I'm only 40 hours in. Keep in mind, so I'm probably nowhere like close to the end game stuff, but the Erd Tree avatars, the magma worms, Leonine Misbegotten, the
Hmm.
Crucible Knight, the goddamn tree sentinels, um, are all boss fights that you see over and over and over again. Why is there goddamn 10 tree sentinel bosses out in the world, right? So like the first time that you meet like the golden one in Limgrave, I'm like, oh, like, and he's just like walking around just like randomly out in the open world. I'm like, oh crap, right?
Yeah, that's a
And then after,
boss.
yeah, yeah, and then you see him again, and then you see him again, and then you see him again,
And
like
then you
all over
see
the
him with
world.
his buddy.
Right, right. Or
Yeah.
even the Night Cavalry. It's the same thing. I met one in the Weeping Peninsula, and then you meet another one like later on.
Yeah, one of the
Like
tree
and
bosses later in the game, man, is surrounded by like a mob of enemies that can combo you to death.
yeah,
So
the Urge Tree avatars are like I've already met three of them. The like purple skeleton who's like riding the boat.
yeah,
There's like
yeah,
several of those as well. Um,
really
so
cool the
like
first time, but yeah, yeah,
absolutely feels cool the first time, but then like the more and more you fight them, it's yeah. The magma worms as well. Like I don't know, man. Like it's really weird. Like these to me at least, these don't feel like events anymore. And even the dragons. The dragons are all the fucking same. And the only
oh
difference
yeah,
with them is just what color, fire that they breathe or whatever. Yeah, it's truly like the only difference between them. I kid you not, one of the jails, the galls or whatever, um, I went in there like every time in Limgrave, I was like, oh cool, man, who am I gonna fight this time? One of them was literally one of those fucking giants, the ones that you see like pulling the giant carriages around sometimes in Limgrave.
yep,
Um, and there's this really cool spot where you can farm some runes that has on Storm Hill that has like five of them just walking around. So I've fought a ton of these things. So like I can't even explain my disappointment when I went into one of those galls and and one of those things popped up. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, are you kidding me?
yeah.
Um, so and this is one of the things that I really hate. About like just the Dark Souls games that I've played in general um is this idea of boss characters who are you've fought them already but then they come back as just like regular enemies like almost
That
like
happens a lot, man.
yeah, like think of like the Shadows of Yharnam from Bloodborne, how you fight them in the Forbidden Woods, and then like I think later on, I forget what area it is. It's the area where you fight Murio's wet nurse, but like then they come around back. It's just like regular enemies. So I'm just like, well, okay. It makes these bosses feel like less special, you know? Um, yeah. So like to me, they don't feel, and especially the dungeons are like the most egregious like culprit of this, where like you go through this little dungeon. I have problems with the rewards that you get in general. I feel like the rewards just like aren't that good, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm the
But
same.
yeah, so you go through these little dungeons, and what's waiting for you at the end? It's literally just like a boss like you've already fought before in the early game or whatever. Um, or what they do to mitigate this is they'll throw two of them at you, right? Like the two watchdogs, like I've which was like one of the earliest bosses I fought, and then later on you finish the dungeon, it's like that same exact boss again, but they just throw another one at you. And it's just like, well, okay. So, there's one Miranda who's like this giant flower, and it's like I fought those in the overworlds. Why is this a boss now?
Oh yeah.
And that boss literally does nothing to the version that you find out in Limgrave. So it's just like I don't know, man. It's really weird. Yeah. So like you explore. Yeah. You explore these dungeons or a cave, which is repetitive within itself. It feels like a worse version of the Chalice dungeon, to be honest. And then what are you rewarded with at the end? It's just a boss that you've probably already fought before. Um,
And a
there's
reward that's kind of useless to you or not that great. Yeah.
right. Especially if you're not doing like sorcery, then it's like most of the rewards in this is just kind of like it doesn't apply to you. Um, the Red Wolf of Ragadan that you fight in the academy, later on he just appears as a normal enemy, which I don't know, man. I just really dislike that trend in From games of like having to fight a boss again, but this time they're just a regular enemy. A lot of them just feel like glorified standard enemies with a big health bar at the bottom. Like I don't know, that euphoria that you feel of like reaching a new boss has just kind of been all over the place in this game. And like again, I'm nowhere near the end game yet, but like even Margie and what's his name, Roderick or Godric, like even them, I've seen clips where like you fight them again later on in the end game, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So like, so I don't know. It's just it's really, and again, I go back to the thing of its size being its greatest strength and greatest weakness is that I feel like when you have a world this expansive, so this open and large, um, it just kind of feels like that they needed things to fill out the world or something. I don't know because it's just like I was looking at like the in comparison to the other games, and you see something like I don't know the other Dark Souls games and Bloodborne and Sekiro. They have something like anywhere from like 13 to like 20 unique bosses, and this game has like almost like triple that. And I would say maybe 10 of them in total are like unique bosses that you don't fight over and over again, which is like to me that's a really bad number. And I'm not expecting all of these bosses to be super unique and different from the last, but like most of them should be. I feel like I I
Yeah.
I,
Yep.
I don't know.
There's
And
that's,
then
they
don't
say
get me.
there's like 186 boss or something like that in this game.
It's too much. It's too much if you're going to be doing this. Like trim the fat. We don't need that much, man. Especially if there's going to be 10 goddamn tree sentinels riding around on their horses, and they're all exactly the same as their counterpart. The only difference being the weapon that they use. It's way too much, man. Way
Yeah.
too much. Like
Yeah. No, I
trim that
agree.
number down.
I agree. That's why I'm a little hesitant when people want to call it the greatest open world game ever made. Because I see like both sides of it when it comes to the exploration side and just the discoverability, right? Like you're always going to be seeing something new that's going to catch your eye, even if you have an objective like every 30 seconds in the game. And that's
Yeah.
like a monumentous feat in game design. Like it's absolutely incredible to do that because the last game to really do that, capture the entire world, was Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people really don't like the handhold nature of like a lot of games nowadays, and I can see that, and that's why games like Elden Ring are such like feels like a breath of fresh air. But then when you really get into like the minute details of everything, you see the repetition, you see sort of kind of the flaw, I guess, in like the game design of a game like this big, and you're just like, I don't know, like is it really like revolutionary? Is it like, are we really like gonna claim this one as like one of the best open world games ever made, because it does something different?
Or even if it's worth it, is it worth it to have a game this big if you're gonna have this much repetition, you know?
Right.
I would argue no. That's why I said earlier that like this was a cool experiment. I love a lot of things about this game. Otherwise, I would not be playing this game every waking second of my life right now. But I if this is the compromise that we get this sort of experience, but it's just so repetitive, then like I don't want it. My thing is I don't want to play another game like this and from software specifically. That's not even to mention two things. That's not even mentioning the NPC bosses that you fight as well, right? Where you know what I mean, the ones that are just like literally the humans. They'll have like a little shield, or they're literally like just you or whatever. They're like a player character.
Oh yeah. You mean like the actual like player bosses? Someone's
Yeah.
like entering your realm or whatever. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Or not even that, 'cause those are fine. But like there's one boss that I haven't fought yet, but there's this one called like Fia's Guardians. I don't know if you fought that one, but it's like literally just like three, not literally player summons, but it's like those kinds of enemies, and like they each
Gotcha.
have like three large boss health bars, like they're actual big bosses. And it's just like, well, like come on, man, it almost feels like the old monk from Demon Souls is like, oh come on, like this isn't a boss, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I fight these things, these summons, like all the time. Like don't it's not special enough to get its own boss health bar, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Which is what I feel about most of these bosses in this game. Like, come on, that thing really gets its own boss health bar, really? Come on now.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, and the second thing is the bosses. Some of the bosses themselves, I have a really big problem about their just mechanically how they are, and their goddamn fucking 8-hit combos that don't fucking stop.
And the
But
the
I will.
large buffer window that they do.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Walt was giving me a lot of shit. He's like, get better, get better. I'm like, dude, the buffer window is like actually stupid in this game.
It's non-existent. It's non-existent. Some of your openings too. There's this thing specifically that I fucking hate that this game that I've been noticing this game has been doing way more than previous From games is it just feels like the moment your thumb hovers over that square button, they immediately know, and they attack you, or they send something at you to stop you from healing. That's bullshit of the highest order, man. I hate that.
The input reads, baby.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I have a lot more to say about this game, but we'll save it for when Walt comes back. Like I
Yeah.
said, I love a lot about this game, but I don't know. I think the size it's to its own detriment at the same time. But yeah, man, that's it for me. What about you?
Yeah. No, I'm kind of glad we're having this discussion anyway, because I'm kind of in the same realm as you. But I mean, it would be fun to actually have like a full Elden Ring breakdown with Walt, because I know some of his stances is going to be really fun to kind of go back and forth. But regardless of the fact,
Yeah.
yeah. So this week has been pretty much the same as the past week. A bunch of Final Fantasy 14 getting through the Hildebrand quests, which are, I mentioned before, like an opener to the new weapon legacy quests, or I forgot what they're called, but basically to get the most powerful weapons in the game after Endwalker. And then more DNF Duo. I got the tournament today, so I'm prepping up, and I say like one of the things that people can do to prep for any sort of fighting game tournament is to, one, know know the characters, not just your character, but know other characters. So what I did was I gave myself a little bit of homework, and I actually played through the entire story. I played through at least 10 matches with each character, um, as well as jumping online to see how people play some of those other characters. But the thing is, you don't run to everybody online, all the characters. So it takes it upon yourself to just go and experiment with all the other people that you're not playing as other than your main. So that's what I've been doing. I've been kind of like seeing like opening windows for certain characters, what can they do, what can't they do, where can my main character jump in to take advantage of any situations and whatnot, and just kind of refine that. So I've been diving into that back and forth throughout the week. And then I've been kind of in the God of War mood, man. So I started up God of War 3, and I know you say you didn't play the PS3 games, but by any chance, did you play God of War 3 when it came on PS4?
Yeah, I played that one at least.
Okay, yeah. Dude, the beginning of this is probably one of the greatest things ever made. I was about to say. Like,
Yeah, it's cool.
it's God of War, especially back then, was like the epitome of cool ass video games. Like they absolutely just perfected what an awesome video game should feel like, look like, the cinematic kills, all that jazz, and then God of War 3 is kind of like the pinnacle of that. And it's just so cool to kind of see that perspective. Like, yeah, this game aged very well. It's still a ton of fun to play. You jump in, you're climbing Mount Olympus with all the Titans, and then you facing off against Poseidon, that awesome like water horse boss. It's so cool, man. And eventually you just drop down to Hades, and then that's what you guys see on the screen right now. But it's so much fun. I'm having a blast just going through it all. Again, just kind of having the memories of just playing it on PS3 and with my cousins, seeing like all the cool kills that he would do on the centaurs and the griffins and all that stuff. I think there's griffins in games, but yeah, man. So it's a good time. I'm thinking about getting the platinum, and then eventually playing God of War 2018 the closer we get to Ragnarok, because I'm really aching to play that game again. And yeah, man. So I've been kind of diving between those back and forth, but nothing really much other than that, man. Just kind of doing that. But I did make the decision, as I told you guys before, that I decided to just kind of be off of Twitter, have a good long hiatus. Nothing really like fueled by drama or anything like that. Really, it's more of a kind of personal decision that I wanted to make, especially when it came to like certain like what's the word I want to use here? Life direction sounds like very, very dramatic, and that's not the case. What I really want to do is that I told Walt before that I would think about going into animation, and specifically,
Cool.
yeah, specifically computer animation. And it wasn't until like the past week where I just had this like epiphany. I was like, man, like what am I going to be doing after news? Like I really don't know, and I kind of want to fall my lap into writing because I love writing so much.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I don't love news writing like that, and I feel like I'm missing like a bit of that other piece of the puzzle when it comes to writing stories or creating stories. And so a long time, like a while ago, I started watching shorts, like animated shorts, especially from Walt Disney and stuff like that, and just I fell in love with those. And I've always had in the back of my mind, like, man, I would love to make my own animated short, but I suck at drawing. I don't know how to do any 3D animation, so that's out of the picture. I just have to write. So I decided that I'm not going to make that the case anymore. That I'm going to learn 3D animation and actually go for it. So I actually bought the Animator Survival Kit, which is like with the one book that all animated professors and the jazz just kind of recommend for people to get if they want to get into animation. So I started that this week, and we're going to make headway. And quitting Twitter was kind of like a good thing because it's less distraction, it's less intimidation from other creatives and stuff like that. I get to focus on my own creative spin and wheel to it. So and with that said too, I also bowed out of Lords of Gaming just so I could actually focus on this full time, and it's going to be a completely self-teaching thing. So getting all of the YouTube guides, getting all the practice in, going to treat it as a hobby now and see where it goes from there. But on that, man, that was kind of like the biggest thing for me this week. I'm really excited about it. I haven't been this excited to learn something new in quite a long time, so I'm ready to dive into it.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, to I don't know. I similarly came to a kind of epiphany or like self-reflection moment earlier this year where I was like aside from my writing, like what do I want to do like in my life? Like obviously the writing is like what I, want to make a career out of, but like I need some sort of backup. I need some sort of um I don't know, thing that like I can actually like sort of when I apply to places or whatever, like showed people like, hey, this is, like what I can do or whatever.
Right.
Um and that's sort of where the decision to go back to school kind of came from. So yeah, it's interesting that yeah, you kind of came to like a self-reflection moment as well. And I don't know, I think those kind of things like it's important to be honest with yourself and have like an unbiased like look at yourself and ask yourself like am I happy to live where I'm at in life right now, and be honest about it. And yeah, I don't know, good for you to for first of all like asking those questions and coming away with an answer, and pursuing something that you actually are gonna be happy with and want to do. I think that's awesome, man.
Thanks, man. No, I excuse me. I appreciate the words, man. Seriously. It's the thing is, it's the second time this happened to me in my life, and this the first time was when I was working in not working, but I was going to school for criminal justice, and I realized that this is like not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So I decided to go into media and journalism and writing because that's what I was good at. So that was a good thing to fall back on. And I got really far in it. I was really proud of where I got to. Like I absolutely just dug a hole for myself trying to change careers midway through college, and ended up being mildly successful through like all the hard work and perseverance that I did. And thankfully, it did all work out. But in the back of my mind, like the main thing I've always wanted to do was animation. I knew I sucked at drawing. It was super competitive. The rates weren't good. Like you know what I mean? Like all these horror stories you hear about certain jobs, it completely scared me out of it. But
Yeah.
with the rise in like 3D animation and basically it being really really flexible with what you can do with it, it kind of opened my eyes like, okay, maybe this is something this is possible, this is something that we can actually do. I just have to be committed and actually work hard. And the thing is too, it's not like a school thing. It's not something like I have to do because I'm paying money. No, I'm doing it because I want to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it feel really different now. And thankfully, yeah, I think I'm in the position where I can do that. But other than that, man, yeah, it was again one of those self discovery moments that I was really surprised that it happened now, but better late than never, I guess, right?
Yeah, for sure, man.
But
Yeah.
that tough topic, yeah, um, yeah. I've been playing God of War 3, man. I want to get your thoughts a little bit on God of War 3 and then kind of your experience with it, especially with the hype of God of War Ragnarok. Like it's kind of weird coming seeing Kratos absolutely decimate civilians and demons and Gorgons and all this stuff to have him be the way he is in 2018. So,
At
yeah,
least from what I remember though, and I literally have not played that game since 2015 when it came out. Um, from what I remember though, the way that God of War 3 ends, Kratos was already sort of like changing as a character. So like that's why I think that jump between 3 to 2018, like it like you could see how Kratos ends up being the way that he is in 2018 after the events of God of War 3. Um,
hmm
so at least that's what I remember from that game. But yeah, like I don't think it's as jarring as some people make it out to be. Especially with him and Pandora and that relationship, and then him deciding to do what he does at the end of the world with Athena there and everything.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think the natural progression um of that character, it makes sense of him going from like you can see how he goes from point A to point B, I think. Um, so yeah, that's what I remember from that game. Um, yeah. So is that it for you?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Just God of War 3, 514, DNF Duel. Hoping to actually, yeah, I'm very very close. One trophy away from getting the platinum in DNF duel, man. One trophy
Nice.
away. So I should probably get it today. It's just to get like 300 matches online, which is super easy to do because this game's like really addicting online. So, but yeah, man, that's getting, get that off the checkbox and get ready for Live Alive uh, next week. So that's about it.
And Stray.
And Stray, yes, on, on the PS Plus.
Yes, sir. All right. So, yeah, let's get started with some of these topics. We can knock out like some of the smaller ones. There's a lot that happened PlayStation wise this week. Um, so yesterday, actually, Sucker Punch announced that Ghost of Tsushima has sold 9.73 million copies.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, which for comparison, and then we also, I think what was it, June? We got the announcement of Last of Us Part Two selling 10 million copies as well. But they said that Neil said earlier this year we had just hit the 10 million copy number. So like, who knows when that is? It could be January or March or whatever. But the thing that I wanted to bring up is that it's interesting that like this is no shade towards Resident Evil 2 remake because I absolutely adore that game. It's one of my favorite games of the last generation. But it's interesting that we also just got the announcement that that game hit 10 million units sold this week as well. So it's interesting that that game took 3 years to sell 10 million units on multiple platforms on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, as opposed to two games that are on one platform
Hmm.
managed to do it in 2 years, or maybe it might have been for Last of Us on 1.5 years or 1.8 years or something like that. Who knows? But
Hmm.
the point is that it's interesting to see that comparison.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was seeing a little bit from David Jaffe's YouTube that is 10 million enough in the 2 years, and I think it's an interesting conversation because when you, I guess, well, can we assume that Last of Us 2 is probably one of Sony's most expensive games that they've ever made?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And his argument was that it's not enough for a game like that to make that much. But the thing is, I think that's what makes PlayStation very unique, I guess, in the senses where like they can have like their smaller projects we talked about before, but then they can also have their bigger projects that cost so much money to make, but they have enough money, in the threshold to be like, yeah, we can do this. This is a creative risk that we're worth taking, and Last of Us 2 is absolutely one because it blew up the industry, and not just of being controversial, but just being blowing everybody's expectations out of the water. Like no one expected The Last of Us 2, I think, to be what
Yeah.
it was. So
Last was one or Last was two?
Last was 2.
Okay.
Yeah, Last was 2. And then again with Ghost of Tsushima, I think when everybody's like having this open world fatigue as they call it, I really feel like Ghost of Tsushima was just an anomaly for open world games because of its design. Like you had the obvious like go here, go there kind of Ubisoft kind of flow to it, but the way you progressed it was a lot different than open world games. It was a lot more immersive, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So I'm glad that people are kind of seeing like the star in this game, and the sales reflect that. So I'm glad it's actually a multi-million hit. The Ghost of Tsushima 2 could be on its way, baby.
Yeah, man. It's a new IP as well, man. It's a new IP.
Yeah, it's
Um,
another good point.
yeah. So that within itself is really cool. That that a lot of people seem to be really into that IP.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so that I mean, congratulations to Sucker Punch first of all, because now that adds them to this sort of like I mean me and you already have been singing the praises of Sucker Punch since the PS2 days,
Yes,
so
sir.
we know we know they're a part of the sort of PlayStation like upper pantheon of studios, but now I feel like they're like firmly cemented in that place because now they join this list of PlayStation first party games that have sold 10 million plus. So you have Insomniac has done that with Spider-Man. You have Santa Monica, who has done that with God of War. You have Naughty Dog, who has done that with both Uncharted 4 and Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Guerrilla, obviously, with Horizon, and now you have Sucker Punch with Ghost of Tsushima. Well, they're not at 10 million, but they will be
Yeah, they might as well be.
probably. Yeah, they will be within the years. So I think that's pretty cool, and I think that right there, that list right there, I don't know if you disagree, but I would say that's probably like that is like Sony's like crown jewels right there. The Naughty Dog, Santa Monica, Insomniac, Sucker Punch, and Gorilla right there. Like, that is their that is like their Mount Rushmore right there.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what Haven and other studios are hoping to be. So we'll see what they do,
Yeah,
man. It's gonna be
yeah,
fun
for
times.
sure.
I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, congrats to them. That's awesome. Who would have ever thought, the people who were making Sly Cooper back in the day would have a game that sells close to 10 million units, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Again,
yeah.
I still want a Sly Cooper trilogy remaster, but
I wouldn't hold out hope for that, man. Just saying.
come on now. Give me some hope here, guys. Come on, Andrew. Andrew Goldfarb. I know you listen.
I thought you were calling for Andrew House for a second. I was like, hey, that man hasn't been at that company for a while.
Oh
He ain't
man,
listening.
it's shouts to Andrew House, but nah. That him and Adam Boyes, they gave me Final Fantasy 7 remakes. I can't bother them for the rest of my life. So
True, true. Um, so yeah, on top of that, earlier in the week we got the news that The Last of Us Part One has gone gold. Um,
yeah,
ahead of its September 2nd release date.
very
Um,
early.
yeah, very early. I think I saw some sort of like list, but yeah, I do think in terms of like the gap between going gold and the release date, that this is the longest that we've seen from PlayStation Studios. Um, so yeah, like I believe like for Forbidden West, it was like something like 22 days or something like that. I think this one's like close to like in the 50s or something. So
Yeah,
um, yeah, so it's gone gold. It was really interesting to see. There was this one artist, I believe, at Naughty Dog who was saying that this is like in their entire career, this is like the project um, that he's been a part of that was made like the most efficiently, like without crunch or anything like that. So that was really cool to see. Um, but
interesting.
but yeah, man, like this game is ready to go. So
Hell yeah, it is, dude. Are you excited?
yeah.
Like, you're gonna be playing for the first time.
Why you gotta say that, man? Why you gotta say that? But yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
Dude, yeah, yeah. I had to ask you because there's a lot of not controversy, a lot of conversation, right, about what's is really changing. Is a remake actually worth it? All that kind of stuff. But I wanted to bring up to you, what do you think is going to be changing in this remake?
Um, first of all, it's gonna be worth it to me. So
Yes, sir.
so
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I mean that's completely it's completely subjective. I just find it so funny the people who are complaining about. I'm not gonna call names, but his name rhymes with Harris. Let's just say that.
I say bald,
So,
bald man, huh?
oh man, the one who has who graciously accepted that yellow cyberpunk chair. But I just find it laughable. People who are complaining about $70 games, yet who they will proudly put down money for a Steam Deck or both a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series console or whatever.
Hmm.
So and that's not even to mention gaming in general is a luxury hobby.
Big facts.
Yet there for him specifically, this man has a Tesla. So
You know
so,
that? Yep.
so
Didn't
I
see
don't
that.
understand, dude. I don't understand. Anyway,
Yeah.
regardless, um, uh, what do I think they're changing? Really not much aside from the game it's gonna closely mirror Last of Us Part Two's fluidity. I'm not expecting Joel to be, jumping around and being able to squeeze under cars and tight spaces just like Ellie was able to. Um, But I don't know. I do expect that fluidity. They're probably gonna add. I actually don't know if they will add a dodge button like they did for part two.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm most curious about because we're supposed to be getting gameplay, more gameplay, like not snippets, but just like, but not even a breakdown.
Improvements.
They talked about we're getting more stuff soon, so I'm wondering if
Yeah,
they're actually gonna do some sort of state of play on like what's changing in this remake.
I would imagine so.
Yeah,
Um, for both that and God of War. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do because I mean they could just say fuck it, let's just make him exactly like Ellie. I mean maybe they will do that, but at the same time it's Naughty Dog, and I feel like they really I feel like minute details like that, like it means a lot to them, than the other, random studio. I feel like something as small as like, hey, Joel should feel different than Ellie when you play as her. I feel like something like that really matters to Naughty Dog. Um,
yeah, definitely.
so so I'm not expecting these two to play exactly the same. I mean, they didn't, when part two came around, Ellie felt a lot different than Joel. So it would be weird if they went back and did this remake and Joel's just like, oh no, he just feels like Ellie. I feel like that would be kind of weird, but I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. Um,
Yeah.
but really, aside from gameplay improvements, the AI, I think the AI is going to be a lot smarter. Again, closely resembling Part Two's. Um, but really, aside from that, I'm not expecting this to be, Resident Evil 2 remake or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have pretty high expectations for this. I'm expecting sequences and like fighting sequences to be redone. Um, not specifically like I think more in terms of AI and like, to really fit like kind of the accessibility that Last of Us Part Two had, because in that game you had just a range of accessibility options, whether it be the amount of enemies on the screen or basically tailored to how you play. Like there's like more than one way to play a level, and I'm kind of hoping they do the same with this remake. And
I
again, not in terms of sequences, but just like at least like having that accessibility option to like really tailor to how you want to play it.
yeah, that will definitely be in there. I my hope, and I don't know that they will do this, but a lot of the Uncharted games, I would say up until three, and even The Last of Us are culprits of arena shooting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you kind of go into this room. It's a big open room, and it's just like a bunch of enemies, and then you move on to the next open room, and it's a bunch of enemies. That kind of repetitive nature to its combat.
Hmm.
It's my hope that is a little bit. It feels a little bit more organic in between, combat sequences, and it's not really the Uncharted sort of fight arenas like it was back in the day. So if they will actually redo some of those levels, I don't know. That seems like a lot of work for a remake. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Um, but that's my biggest hope that I feel like is plausible, um, to do within this remake. Um, but yeah, besides that, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, same here. Same here. It comes out on my wedding day, so I'll be crying on the day of.
Oh man.
No, overall, like I'm just really excited just to see what the changes are and see the new graphic improvements and the character models like look insane, dude. I kind of love that we have this option to go between the remastered and this remake. A lot of people would prefer one or the other, and understandably. But I kind of love that Tess looks different.
Yeah.
She looks more like the actress that plays her. And Joel looking a little bit more like from The Last of Us Part Two, and Ellie looking definitely different from the remastered version. Like I'm kind of loving like all these changes, man. So I'm looking forward to what the gameplay is gonna do, and just how they're really gonna ramp it up. It's again, the only sad part for me is the fact that factions is not a part of this package, and that's what
Yeah.
makes it kind of weird that it is $70 and just for single player. But to be honest, I love The Last of Us enough that I'll just go for it. Especially since it includes a Left Behind DLC, and I wonder if they're going to change parts of that too, since that DLC. The best thing about that DLC is really just kind of the story between Riley and Ellie. The gameplay of I never replayed it because it just wasn't super fun. So I kind of hope they redo a little bit of that to make it more enticing. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to see also some story changes. Do you think that they're gonna make Joel killing the doctors not an option? I think that's gonna be the case.
I I don't think so. I don't
No?
think I
Mm,
don't think there's gonna be any story changes at all.
interesting.
So,
Okay. I really think that they're gonna go for it, and it's gonna get a lot of people mad.
and I think that's exactly why they want to do that.
Oh man, I don't know about that one. I think the changing the ending a little bit to The Last of Us Part One wouldn't exactly destroy the world like some people would think. I honestly think what happened in Part Two with what happened with Joel, I think that was more of an outrage than anything else.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, man, really excited for that. And like I said, man, Sony's sort of their fall is looking pretty solid, man, with part two or part one, and now God of War. Um, I'm really looking forward to Roller Drome that comes out in August.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah,
and only
man,
20
it's
bucks for PS Plus members too, which is nice.
cool. Oh yeah, they had this thing where it's like 1979 to like kind of um be more in line with like the year that the game is set, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think so
Uh,
too. Yeah.
yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'll definitely be getting it at that price. Um, so yeah, man, that's Last of Us Part One, going gold. Uh, let's talk about Skate really quick. I don't know if you had left before you got to see this. Um,
I saw an IGN like recap news video about this.
okay. First of all, have you played any of the skate games, or are you like a skateboarding game fan in general, like Tony Hawk?
Yeah, for sure. I played a ton of them when I was on PS1 and a bunch of them with my cousin too. I kind of stopped after like the PS3, PS2 era, but I did play Skate because I've heard of like what it did differently. It was using like the right thumbstick to actually do tricks with the board instead of like the face buttons.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was a big fan of it. I loved Skate, and it was a lot of fun. I'm glad they're bringing it back, but it's definitely some controversy on this one, huh?
Yeah, but uh, so uh, so we know that it is a live service, free to play game.
Yeah.
Microtransactions will focus on cosmetics and convenience, quote unquote. And then of course it's still early in development. Which this comes off the heels of the developers saying that there wouldn't be any monetization at all. Um, so it's unfortunate, man. Seeing that this is a live service, like what? Um, yeah.
I mean,
How
I
do you?
kind of understand it, and it doesn't completely turn me off like Assassin's Creed going like
Yeah.
full life service does. But it's an interesting decision for sure. I'm like, I'm wondering how they're gonna pull it off. But the thing is, like, then I can remember like if they're making it like a live service, then that means like an ongoing content for this game that includes like new skate parks, new skateboards, customizing your own skater, all that stuff, right? And that can be very dangerous. It could be Diablo Immortal like, or it can be, I guess, Fortnite. So, but I don't know. But
Yeah.
continue what you're gonna say.
No, I'm also curious to see how they're gonna handle this. And it's interesting seeing some of your favorite franchises from back in the day being morphed and twisted into sick new game model, man. It hurts. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I was always more of a Tony Hawk fan. Um, so I don't think I was gonna play this game anyway, but I'm definitely not gonna play this game now. Um,
Oh man, I mean, it's free to play, right? That's because that's what the
True.
right? Yeah. Okay. So
True.
if it's free to play, I think giving it a shot is definitely worth it because it was one of those things on the PS3 Xbox 360 generation where like a skateboard game where you only use the left and right analog stick to actually do moves, like that's weird. But like once you actually get the flow of it, man, it was iconic. Like it was like, oh, this is different.
See, that's exactly
Yeah.
why I didn't play those games.
Oh, it was good, man. It was really fun.
I forget what store it was. Um, but probably like Target or something like that. I don't know. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude! The fucking hand monsters in the
Oh yeah,
elevator.
those are
Oh my
fast.
god.
Yeah.
Oh my
Those are
god.
real
Oh my god.
fast. Yep, those are
Yeah.
incredibly fast. You just gotta use magic or something to stay away from those.
Fuck, man. That was my first time fighting or seeing them, and Jesus Christ, they are so fucking scary, dude.
Yeah, and they're
Um,
everywhere. So look all around you, dude. They're
great.
everywhere.
That's awesome. Um, yeah, so what I was gonna say was that like my biggest like exposure to skate was I want to say it came out around the same time as Infamous One, and stores always had demos of like little kiosks where you could play Infamous,
Yeah.
and Skate as well. So like I remember playing it a lot. Oh my god, I don't know, like Target or something like that. Um, so yeah, uh, yeah, that's all I gotta say, man. I'm being chased by this goddamn hand.
No, I hear
So
you. But yeah, it's like I played it a ton. I never bought the game because I always rented it from Blockbuster. But whenever I did, it was just always fun, just skating around and just doing all the tricks with just the right angles. Like for some reason, just like it felt so good to do that, and like no one ever thought of this before. You're just like, oh god, this is actually really cool. So I really want to see like when they talk about convenience.
yeah, that sounds like
What do
XP
you mean?
boosters. That's what that sounds like to me.
I mean, if that's the case, then man, I the thing is what I'm scared about for that is I don't want them to tie moves to levels, just
Mm,
cosmetics. If that's the case, like
yeah,
it's like if you're playing Fortnite and you can't use or actually no, you know what actual games actually did this was the Call of Duty games, where you can only get like a certain gun at a certain level. I'm
hmm,
hoping that's not the case with Skate, the free to play version here, where
yeah.
you had to get to a certain you get to get to level 10 to get up or something like that, or to get a
Oh
nollie
yeah,
or nollie or something like that. Like that would be really lame. But if it's something small of like, oh, you get this, you know, DC cap or whatever as a sponsor in our game, like I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, bro. I don't care about that. I just care about
yeah.
doing moves and going to skate parks and doing all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they have a good basis and it's there. I mean, from what it seems like, developers seem really committed to it, and I don't know how much of a public influence it was to make it free to play and live service, but I think making it free to play is smart for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I'm hoping for the best, man, because I think it's cool that it's coming back.
Yeah,
Especially after Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 shit the bed. But
yeah,
then we had the remakes of 1 and 2, which was awesome.
which did
Um,
really well apparently.
yeah,
Tony Hawk even said like, yeah, they're gonna do remake Tony Hawk 3 and 4, but Vicarious
Activision
Visions got ate up,
Blizzard. Yep,
which really sucks.
yep.
I know Gene was pounding his pillow when you heard that.
Because I mean, for me personally, Tony Hawk 3 is my favorite in the series. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it's the one definitely spent the most time with. But like I know those levels like the back of my hand as well, and yeah, man, to hear that, it kind of hurt, man. It really
Oh
did.
yeah, for sure. You know Tony Hawk too. Like he would have just, if he could, he would just take that whole franchise and do it himself. But
It sucks that
you
like
know,
his name is on the fucking box. You know what I mean? And he doesn't own it.
yeah,
So yeah, but anyway, man. Yeah. So that is Skate. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And like to be honest, like the fact that it's a live service doesn't inherently make it, a bad thing or like, oh, how great, now it's gonna be terrible or something like that. We'll see. We'll see what the content rollout looks like. We'll see what it looks like on release. Is it just gonna be like a skeleton, kind of game in terms of content. Like, what is actually going to be there on release? Because that's the biggest thing with, I think that's my biggest thing with, or problem with live service in general, is that these things do release as like a skeleton on release date. Like, what you're getting in terms of content is just like so like thin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's
Um,
it's the case with a lot of free to play games and just live service in general. I mean, look at New World.
yeah. Yeah, so I hope that's not the case here, but at the same time, that's exactly going to be the case here. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah, that's my fear for sure. Just it's gonna be absolutely barren and nothing much to do.
yeah.
But I mean, the point of those games was that you're racking up score anyway. So like, what are we really expecting from this? Are we expecting like a deep narrative or like
No,
just
no,
the
no.
full arcade experience? Like, what are we really expecting from where people are gonna be like, oh, I'm bored after like 4 5 hours? Like, I don't know.
And
Let's
like
find out.
it also, I guess, what, let me shit on the live service model a little bit more here. So like, what they're gonna do is, the classic thing back in the day was like, hey, all the maps are here available day one. And now it's gonna be like, hey, here is four maps. Here's, you get to go to New York, Brazil, Tokyo, and then in 3 months we'll add another map. 3 months later, we'll add another map. You know what I mean? That's the kind
Yeah.
of stuff that I kind of hate. I mean, that's kind of the
Really?
problem that's what Halo is going through right now, man. They're getting a new map like every 6 months, man. So,
Yeah.
and when
Well,
back in the
well,
day,
Halo's like such an anomaly too. That just having one of the worst rollouts I've seen for a live service game.
yeah. So like at the very least, like I hope, um, it's not inherently bad that you're getting new maps like every few months, but I hope what they have at release, and this goes back to my earlier point, but I hope what they have at release is like enough to satiate players for like a good amount of time. Like something like 8 to 10 maps I feel like is a good number to have on release.
Right.
But if it's something like 4 maps, then I'm kind of like, okay, well, like, come on now, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
um
yeah, I know. It's again, it's one of those tricky things we're going to see from this whole generation of the live service stuff, especially when it comes from PlayStation. I don't know if you saw though, man, but have you seen Blizzard's roadmap for Overwatch 2?
I haven't.
It's actually pretty extensive. They say you want to believe them when they say, "Oh yeah, we were definitely planning for for free to play live service." Like I don't know about that one, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
their roadmap for season one after the October release is actually pretty extensive. Like here's a plan that we're going to do because as you know, Overwatch, which is a you buy it first, you get all the stuff. As it releases, and the hero and map release are pretty stagnant because they're focusing a lot on the hero balance and stuff like that. But for this one, they're actually saying, yeah, we're gonna have like a new hero every other like 2 months or something like that, and new maps like in between. Like it's pretty extensive, so I'm actually pretty impressed with what they're doing Overwatch 2. But I wonder if anyone's just like kind of looking at that and seeing what is a good blueprint for live service, and if the developers of Skate are doing the same thing, or if they're doing completely something original because it is a Skate game. So, but
Yeah.
it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Most of all, is
Well,
PlayStation listening? Are you listening, fam? Are you looking?
um, we hope so, man. But I mean, I guess this kind of leads into Bungie.
Yeah, man.
Bungie got officially the deal went through, which is, I don't know if you made note of this as well, but like, isn't this kind of not weird, but it's interesting that like they didn't do this for Blue Point or Housemarque, like tweet out specifically from the PlayStation account of like, hey guys, like the deal for Housemarque is now closed. We officially own Housemarque. Like they did that for both Haven and Bungie. Um, so yeah, like I don't know if you made that note as well, did you?
No, I didn't actually. I mean, was it because of traction and because of like these are like I guess Bungie's such an established studio, right? A independent studio, and Haven's completely new,
Well,
whereas Blue
I would
Point and the others is just kind of like go with the flow.
well, well I would have said that for Bungie. Like yeah, Bungie is a big deal. Like it makes sense why you would want to kind of like tweet that out again. I mean, look at the likes on that post. Like it got so many likes. But the Haven
Mm.
one is kind of weird because I feel like Haven is more in line with like Well, maybe I mean Haven is its own unique case because like they're a brand new studio. But yeah, like I don't know, the Haven one was interesting to me that they tweeted that one out again. Um, especially because they didn't after House Market Blue Point and Fire Sprite and Valkyrie all got acquired. Like it was just like that initial tweet, and that was pretty much all that we heard from the even Insomniac, right? Like they didn't even tweet out like, hey, the deal's officially done.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I would be really curious to see like what was the rhyme or reason for that.
Oh,
But
because Herman said
regardless,
so. That's why.
oh yeah, I guess so.
Because
Um,
Herman said so. He's really excited about both of those things.
yeah, yeah.
That's
But
the only
yeah,
reason why I could think of, really.
yeah. But it was
So
interesting for Bungie specifically. Also, both of these happened within the same week, which is pretty cool within its own. Uh, but for Bungie specifically, um, I believe in their like IR meeting or investor call or something like that, Sony said earlier in the year that they were expecting this to go through in like their next fiscal year, so like September or something like that was when they were expecting this to go through. So it's interesting that this got finalized like so quickly, man.
hmm
Um, so yeah, that's cool. But yeah, so back to the live service stuff. We talked about this extensively back in January, but yeah, so Bungie is here. It's basically going to act as like a pipeline to like the rest of the PlayStation studios in terms of like, hey, like this is what has worked, what has not worked with us in the live service realm. So yeah, it's gonna be cool to see like what Bungie can teach these other studios and what PlayStation studios can teach them, um, and vice versa. They could because like as we were just talking about with Skate, you would have to imagine just like with all live service games that there's going to be growing pains, especially at the start. Um,
hmm
and you would hope with Bungie being here, and with Sony wanting to do what 10 live service games to be released before 2026 or whatever the year was,
Right.
that they could make or that they can help show these teams like what not to do at the beginning. So
Yeah, for
um
sure. For sure.
so and the fact that this closed so early, my hope is that like they're going to be more like quickly integrated into something like the Last of Us Factions multiplayer game, um something like that or whatever's the next, because we're expecting, they said 2 new multiplayer games are going to be released before March 31st of 2023. um so with that being the case, you would think, okay, now Bungie can talk to those teams like right now before they get close to release. So I think that's a good thing, man. How are you feeling overall about the Bungie acquisition finally going through? And that's not even to talk about Bungie's own personal aspirations and ambitions of taking the Destiny IP and you know putting it on mobile and making a TV show out of it and all of this stuff.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. Again, live service isn't like my go-to. Multiplayers aren't exactly my go-to, but I'm really into the factions. So we'll see how that goes. And it's from Naughty Dog, so like you expect to be high quality, you expect to be fun, and just overall just a really great time. So we'll see what they actually learn from that studio. That's gonna make that game so much fun to play and keep going back to. I really hope that they see all the stuff that's makes live service not good and just don't do that. Just please, just don't do that. If you have way one too many live service games, I'm just like, all right, this can just kick the bucket. I really don't care about it. I don't want the same for Last of Us 2, man, or Last of Us Factions. I really don't. That gameplay is so solid. It's a lot of fun. The last thing I want is for that to happen to one of my favorite multiplayer games in like a long time. So we'll see what comes of it, though. Really interested to see what Jade Raymond's actually gonna have up her sleeve too with Haven and everything. Um, but
Yeah.
overall, if Bungie's gonna have more Destiny stuff, I guess it's better for all the Destiny fans out there, especially with the new IP and the shows that they eventually want to do and stuff like that. So yeah, either way, PlayStation's gonna be working real hard to make sure that some of this stuff gets on the ground running. So
I'm glad that you got off Twitter because that means that you didn't have to see the people in the comments of that post being like, Halo on PlayStation now.
Oh
You
God, really?
know?
Oh jeez.
I'm like, you poor fools.
Yeah, that's why it's one of the reasons why I definitely hopped off there for sure. The last thing I saw coming off of Twitter this week was the $70 argument, um,
Yeah.
and God of War, hype and Ragnarok pre-orders and stuff like that. That's just about the last thing I saw. So I'm glad it ended off on a high note. Apparently.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, man, I'm excited for Bungie finally being in here. A lot of the people at Bungie seem really stoked for it too. One
Nice.
guy was saying that he's really excited to like be like in the ranks of a Naughty Dog. He specifically tagged Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Media Molecule, which was interesting because Jade Raymond in her like original post of like joining PlayStation Studios, she also called out Media Molecule as well.
Why
Um,
is that the case? They made one game in like 10 years, dude.
well, uh, I don't know. I just think that they're like a really respected team in the industry.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
That's just
I don't
so
know, man.
funny.
But also like Little Big Planet was like a big deal, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Um,
Little Big Planet was definitely a game changer.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, I saw there's definitely a lot of like people who like actually was like previous like Sony employees and then they left and they went to Bungie, so it was funny like seeing them tweet out um like, oh, hey PlayStation again, or like something along those lines. Like there's this one dude who was like, oh, I'm gonna be a PlayStation employee again, like question mark, and then it was like dot 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 dope. um and then there was like some women, there's two that I saw that were like, I think one, she was like, PlayStation 1 was like what got me into the industry, so it was like really cool like coming full circle like this. Another one was like, oh, I as a kid, like I dreamed of like working at PlayStation one day, and like she never thought that this would be like a reality. So yeah, it's always interesting like going through like the quote retweets of like the developers themselves and like just seeing their like excitement and reaction at this. Um, so yeah, that was wholesome to see for sure.
Yeah, man.
Um,
It's really cool to kind of like see again the collaboration is kind of like the most um, interesting part about all this. Is kind of the same thing when people were really excited about Microsoft buying Bethesda and just kind of like that collaboration between all of them to see what they can do. Um,
yeah.
of course, we still have yet to see any like fruits of any of these labors, but so only time will tell. But you can only think of the exciting things really when stuff like this happen.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, but yeah, it's definitely going to be because like for for Bungie, I'm just excited to see like what sort of I don't even want to say potential, but what can Sony unlock, from them? I think the most important thing for Bungie is that they are sort of like this independent sort of like subsidiary of SIE in general. So like I think it is really, because we talked about this a ton with these sort of like big scale acquisitions, is that like I don't like this idea of taking away games that have previously been on other always been on other platforms. So like, my thing with the Bungie thing is that like I don't like the idea of, hey, Destiny is now ours. You're not allowed to play Destiny on your, even though you've been playing it on Xbox and PC for all this time. You're no longer allowed to play it on there.
Yeah.
I would hate that. So I think it is cool that like going forward, like Bungie is still going to be able to release their games multi-platform. I think it's a really big deal and like something that I feel like we don't really see, aside from like the Bethesda stuff and what we hope, or not even the Bethesda stuff, because a lot of their stuff is going to be exclusive. Um, I don't know. I think it's a really like unique sort of acquisition in that sense, right? Because when it happened originally, we were all expecting everything to be exclusive, and they're like, no, like our stuff is still, we still have we march to the beat of our own drum, and we want to release these things multi-platform. Um, so I think that's really cool. And then again, that doesn't even go to sort of explain their wider ambitions of being. And we talked about this with Mr. Badbit. Of I think Bungie sees their future very much in line of like what Riot is doing, of this sort of game company who has their tendrils out in like each and every direction, right? Where they have, you know, their main thing with League of Legends, but then they can also have something like Wild Rift on mobile, but then they can also have something like an Arcane on Netflix. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Bungie very much wants to be right in that sense, where Destiny is literally, that IP is everywhere. It's going to be on mobile, it's going to be on the TV screens, it's going to be in the movie theaters, it's going to be on your consoles and your PCs. So for them, with having that sort of ambition, for them to sort of lock down that IP to just PlayStation, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
and in the long run, that's going to be like, PlayStation is going to benefit from that like so much, man.
Yeah, yeah. We
Um,
said before that Destiny was going to be their moneymaker,
yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
and that opens it
Yeah,
up to more bigger projects like The Last of Us Part Two, and stuff like that, or whatever a team wants to do. So overall, I agree with you. It's for the best, honestly.
yeah. And I think also like for Destiny players, I think this is going to result in a better Destiny, or because they're also working on an unannounced project, and whatever that project is, I think it's going to be even better now, because there was another Bungie developer who was like, um, I don't think he added someone, but he was like, PlayStation, tell me all your audio secrets, because now now he gets to ask those questions, or now
Oh yeah.
he's in direct contact with those people now, which is awesome.
The
Um,
Sony's audio teams are freaking amazing, man. They do really
yeah,
good jobs.
yeah, like this guy was like, he's like on the sound team at Bungie, so now he's like, that's awesome that now he gets to talk with these like legendary people at the PlayStation audio team.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they're so
so
creative too, man. I don't know if have you seen like the behind the scenes for Last of Us One, at least how they made the clicker sounds.
no, I haven't.
Oh, it's so cool, dude. The secret to it, Snapple bottle caps. That's the secret to the clicker sounds, the Snapple bottle cracks. It's so cool, dude.
That's funny.
Yeah, man. So yeah, it's
Um,
cool. Like I love seeing that kind of creativity bleed into to other studios. It's gonna be fun. Um,
yeah, for sure, for sure. See, I'm excited to see, and again, to see what can PlayStation unlock out of Bungie. I think it's gonna be really, really exciting. And now moving on to Haven, we found out that this team, which I guess makes sense, especially from where they came from, them being Stadia developers. Um, it seems like they're gonna be really cloud focused. Um,
hmm.
so much so that they like kind of got Mark Cerny's attention. Like Mark Cerny was like working with them. He's like apparently like really interested in what they're working on. Um, so yeah,
I don't
I
know about
think
that
this
one.
has I think this has the potential of being really, really cool. Again, I have to see what it is, but the way that they're talking about it, it's like piquing my interest at the very least. But
Okay.
I know you hear cloud, and you get you get nervous. So what's your thoughts on Haven and what they're talking about so far?
I mean, I'm gonna give it the same energy I did with Kojima saying he's working on a cloud game for Xbox.
True.
Cloud games just doesn't really appeal to me. I mean, I can't really even say that because we don't even know what that actually looks like, right? So
Yeah.
it's like it again. The idea of it just doesn't sound appealing. And then when you, man, when you look to PlayStation Now and just streaming games in general, right? I streamed the first God of War game. I told you that I streamed a little bit of Infamous. It was
Yeah.
not that great, man. It's just I don't know. I feel like we have to make some serious strides, and if Haven's actually doing something, Mark Cerny's like, oh wow, well, you guys are doing something interesting, and I guess worth taking a look either way because Mark Cerny he's no slouch. But I mean, we'll see what they got, man. I'm more interested to see what kind of game they're making rather than like, oh, it's just a cloud based game. Like, okay, fine, but like, what kind of game are you making? Like, what can you what makes this thing really exciting? So
And
But
like I
it garnered
think
the attention of Herman Hulst and now Mark Cerny, so we'll see, man.
yeah, so specifically like all, so some quick like little bullet points and I dropped this into our chat before you left was that they grew from 50 to 106 developers already, which
Oh
was
right,
something that
yeah, I do remember that.
which was something I was kind of concerned about because I remember when the original partnership was announced that they had something like it was like some small like number of devs obviously because they just started, but then when they were when it was announced a year later that they were acquired, they had only grown to like I don't know like 60 developers at that time. And like I got really nervous because I was like, okay, in a year they were only able to attract this many developers, and like it was still a really small number. So I was kind of nervous, like, okay, are they just not being able to hire a lot of people? But no, it's fine. Like now it feels like they are like a full-fledged team now at 106 people, which is absolutely ridiculous. Um,
That's a lot of it's a lot of people, man.
yeah, and even like looking at the names that they have there, it's like it's a lot of like really like industry, veterans at that team. We talked about people like Corey May, who was one of the original Assassin's Creed writers, and Raphael Lacoste, who was like the art director on the Assassin's Creed franchise back in the day as well.
hmm
The important games in that franchise. Uh,
Shots fired. Damn.
uh, but yeah, so it's cool to see like them, kind of reuniting with Jade again. That's really cool.
Let me
Um,
ask you: do you think these creative heads, do you think it's too much for a team? Because the thing is with like having such influence from these kind of developers that are known, right? There could be some egos that can go around, and probably some conflicting like ideas. Do you think that's probably a problem for the studio or a future problem at least when it comes to developing games? Like, well, I want it this way, but maybe we should do it this way because I learned from this experience a lot better. Like, well, no, I want to do it this way. What do you think
well,
about that?
it seems like I'm not gonna say any names, but it seems like a problem for other, publishers
Ooh.
and um, but
did you
but
did you just slam dunk my layup, sir?
I guess so, man. Hey, that was an alley oop, man. Um, but I don't know, man. Like so far at, at PlayStation, man, like we haven't. That really hasn't been the case, to be honest. For the most part. So I'm not nervous. Like there's something at the in the water over there. They just know how
Something in
to
their water
handle.
fountain.
Yeah, they just know how to like. It feels like they strike a balance between like letting these teams do what they want, but at the same time, I don't want to say cracking the whip, but like they know how to like reel them in when the time is right. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely a
Yeah.
balance there. Um,
Right, right.
so so yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about that. And then at the same time, like these are, Jade and these are a lot of people who have worked with her in the past, not just at Ubisoft, but recently at Stadia. So the fact that these are people who like jumped at the opportunity to be able to work with her again, I think says a lot about her as a leader. Um, but also I think says a lot about like them not having an ego, the fact that they were so like open and willing to join this new startup studio with her. I don't know, I think that's a really really good sign.
Yeah, man.
um
Yeah.
yeah, so and then aside from those other bullet points that I mentioned, Haven is becoming a PlayStation leader in R&D and cloud tech, and that they are helping other PlayStation studios like in that area, which is pretty fascinating, right? Like this, like the new kids on the block are already like showing other PlayStation studios how like cloud tech and R&D is done. I think it's pretty interesting.
Oh man, new
Um,
era for PlayStation.
which again, so like you mentioned, PS Now being the thing that that it was. Um,
Yeah.
what's interesting is that like say what you want about Stadia, but like that tech was actually like it fucking worked, man. Like
Did it?
tech wise it set out to do what it was advertised to do at the very least, at the very least. Um, and and that's large in part to like the engineers who are there, and a lot of those engineers are here at Haven Studios, so it makes sense why like you're taking all of that Google talent, which Google hires like the best of the best. So like you're taking that Google talent, you're bringing them here to PlayStation now, and to me, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of like the streaming and the cloud stuff is going to be improved because of this, because of having Haven done. That's my hope, man.
I'm hoping for
That's
that too, man.
Yeah, that's my hope.
Because
Um,
I know those engineers that work in backwards compatibility don't even want to touch the PS3. So if they can make the streaming PS3 better than it is now, then yeah, sure. But yeah, we'll
yeah,
see how it
man,
goes.
Mark's certainly got a lot on his plate right now, apparently.
Yeah, he
So,
does. He does. I guarantee we're already working on PS6 right now. So
yeah, probably. And then last little bit of information is that Haven is a hybrid remote and in-studio workplace, which is pretty fucking cool to see. A lot of like I think Insomniac and Sucker Punch is moving in this direction as well.
as far as remote work,
Um, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I
A,
remember retweeting that they're hiring for a lot of senior positions, and that could be it's a bit of a red flag. But the fact that everything was remote, I think it's a good thing.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, that was really cool to see. Just in general, it's cool to see the industry moving in that direction. That you don't have to move to California or Canada to be able to work at these places, and it's becoming a lot more flexible.
Yeah,
You want to talk about inclusion. I think that is a really good way to open your doors to more people, in
yeah.
that sense. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
one of
man.
the things where when I was talking about studying more about 3D animation and possibly having maybe complete into video games of being like a video game animator, the fact that the industry is becoming more remote is again it's more appealing to me too because that means I don't if I were to get a job like that I wouldn't have to move to California to do it,
Yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
always appealing. So
Yeah, definitely. Especially with that traffic over there.
hell yeah, no,
Anyone living there.
I hate New York traffic. You think I'm gonna love LA traffic? Oh no.
Hell no.
You can miss me
But
with
yeah,
that.
man. So, so that is Bungie and Haven. The backdoor shady deals are now complete.
they
The ink has dried. The business is done.
the
The
under the
palms have
table
been
dealings
greased.
are all set.
Yeah, the palms have been greased. Um, so yeah, man. That's that. And then I'm curious what you think about that. And obviously, like we're no like lawyers or whatever, but like, does it make you wonder if now that both Bungie and Haven is out of the way, so like their long-standing acquisitions that were pending, do you think this now opens the door for them to like go out shopping again? Because I do wonder if it's like because it's been 6 months since or not 6 months. I forget when Haven was acquired, but like, I wonder if it is a little like you can't go out there acquiring anyone big because like, hey, like Bungie is still being investigated, right? Or Bungie is still being pending. So like, it's probably the same thing with the Activision Blizzard stuff. Why like Microsoft needs to chill right now because Activision is being investigated, so they can't go out and be acquiring Studio A, B, and C while Activision's still being investigated and by the FTC and whatnot. So
Doesn't mean they still can't
I,
have those talks though.
sure, sure. So yeah, do you think that this means that they'll probably resume their shopping again now that this is done?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah. I guarantee they're already in talks for a couple other studios for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, one of them I had to think would be Square Enix. Um, just to
you
really
think
lock,
so?
yeah, just to really lock down kind of the relationship. It seems like it's been going towards that way for a little bit with all the exclusives they've been getting. Um, there's a couple of exclusives from Square Enix that are coming out this year that are not PlayStation exclusive, but some are. Fakir Elysium, Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker was obviously exclusive to PlayStation. Um, At least console exclusive. But yeah, I can definitely see Square Enix kind of. I think to continue this relationship and have the console exclusive parts and keep going like that, or they actually get be a part of PlayStation. And with that, if that's the case, I see them either kind of operating by the same beat of the drum that's going on right now, or
Yeah, like Bungie.
yeah, where like to have certain games that are just releasing on Switch, like Harvestella. It's I think it's a Switch only game. I think it is. I think Switch and PC. But yeah, I see that kind of same thing happening here if that would be the case. But yeah, I think they have what 10 billion to play around with.
Yeah, I think. To that point, like I think that's an excellent point. That like, yeah, if they do acquire Square Enix, I think they need to let them rock and just like Bungie. Like I think in order to get the most out of that deal, you need to have or let Final Fantasy 14 stay on PC. You need to let things like Triangle Strategy or whatever their Switch RPGs are still continue to release on Switch.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I think you still need to let them operate as a publisher and that a multi-platform publisher, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, what I'm thinking. But like, we'll find out because I know Rebirth is also a PS5 exclusive, and that's a deal that's gonna stay until that whole trilogy is done for sure.
Yeah,
Because the developers already said before, like, hey, we want to stick with one console to actually get this thing out. So, and they're
yeah,
doing it.
yeah,
So
for sure. Um, okay, so yeah, that is Bungie and Haven now
yeah,
officially part of PlayStation Studios.
welcome to the
Um,
familia.
yeah, man. If you so really quick, if you were to make a guess right now today, let's say July 16th, 2022. Who would you say is the next acquisition?
Oh man, Rockstar. Not in a billion years. Hell
Come
no.
on, man.
um, you know, Annapurna.
Oof. Isn't that a little tricky though? Because like, aren't they like a movie company or whatever?
So is Sony.
Yeah,
To me,
suppose.
it has to be like a smaller. To me, like a smaller publisher, indie publisher, um, and I'll be either Devolver Digital or Annapurna.
Devolver has apparently been struggling, man, as of
Oh,
late.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I forget what exactly, but yeah, like I saw a tweet a while back that like, yeah, financially, like they're not doing too hot. Um, so yeah,
Interesting.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we'll
they
see.
operate kind of. They really do operate by their own, beat of their drum, especially when it comes to
Yeah,
PC releases and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I don't know. I can see them. I can see them joining the studios, the PlayStation studios. But if not them, then I really wonder what who are the developers of Haze? Supergiant Games, right?
Yeah.
I wonder what they're up to.
Oh, I don't know if you saw that Supermassive just got acquired.
Yeah, they did. By what, like a Polish publisher or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. To continue their narrative, which is great because it's a great studio. They make great games. So I'm happy
Are
like
you
we have
upset?
developers making games like this. So
Are you upset that PlayStation did snag them?
no, no, um, because they looked at Quantic Dreams like we don't want to do that again. No,
Yeah, probably.
because those games probably take a massive amount of budget to make with the motion capture and everything. And yeah, I think Quantic Dream is enough for them.
Yeah. Um. So I'm going. So I had this thought about CD Projekt Red that
Oh,
you obviously you remember the whole thing with Activision Blizzard. Phil Spencer was like, we're reevaluating our relationship with them or whatever, and then like 3 months later they get acquired. Um,
oh yeah, gotcha.
my so my line of thinking is that CD Projekt Red has a similar vibe to that Phil Spencer thing with Sony because the whole thing of Sony taking Cyberpunk off of their PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
So like,
That was dramatic
to
as
me,
hell, dude.
yeah,
That was
to
dramatic.
so to me, it wouldn't come as a surprise specifically because of that reason. So I don't know. It just kind of has a similar vibe to that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up acquiring them for whatever
That's,
reason.
that'd be so funny.
It would be.
It's like they gave him a timeout, and they
Yeah.
eventually came back when they fixed their attitude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
That's so funny. That'd be a great pickup, though. I will say that. Um,
I mean, it would fill the sort of RPG hole that is going to be coming for PlayStation in the near future. I
yeah,
mean, Xbox acquired literally all of these RPG studios, from Obsidian to Bethesda to In Exile. Their playground is making Fable. Um,
yeah,
so yeah,
true,
wouldn't be surprised.
true.
Um,
Yeah, they
so you,
definitely need a good hardcore RPG studio that's not a JRPG.
yeah, for sure.
I think yeah, they definitely need to fill that gap. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
What other good Western studio on CD Projekt Red is good for RPGs?
I mean, my my dream would be Larian Studios, the ones who make Divinity Original Sin
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Baldur's Gate. I would love that. Um,
yeah. Okay.
but at the same time, that feels like such a weird, like, because that's a like a tabletop RPG. That isn't that such a weird fit for PlayStation Studios, right? Like, I feel like that doesn't exactly fit into like the games that they make, but who knows,
Yeah, I think
Who
it's
knows?
mostly going to be based on if they have interesting stories to tell. If there's overall a story and a narrative to go with their games, not just pure gameplay.
Yeah, to that point, like, while gameplay wise they may not fit, they absolutely do fit, like, in a narrative sense. Like, no one, like, I'm not gonna say no one does story better than them, but they are a really, really good storytelling studio,
Yeah,
narrative
yeah,
studio. So
you can't disregard that. So
yeah,
either way, it's another gap to fill for them. So we'll see what happens.
yeah, for sure.
Walt says Striking Distance Studios. Walt, what do they make?
Callisto, but I'm pretty sure they're owned by Tencent.
Callisto? Like Callisto Protocol?
Yeah, yeah,
Is that the only game they made?
yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha. You know what? I'll go with that too. Because that game looks
But
already like phenomenal.
I think they're owned by Tencent.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I
so
mean,
I don't know what he's talking about.
you know what's actually, now we're talking about studio acquisitions here. A big main play that we haven't really talked about that could be really good for them is a Chinese studio.
I feel like that'd be weird, man. Would the Chinese government even like let that happen? I wonder.
Oh man, well, I don't know. That's up to Jim
Right?
Ryan and all of them how they feel about all
Yeah.
that stuff. But the thing is, it's you can't disregard that they've been they've been trying to put China under in the palm of their hand, and so far it's kind of working
Yeah, for sure.
because they've been mass opening in that region, and that 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 entire country just only getting more and more involved in games, and a lot of their stuff are just looking phenomenal every time you see it. Even if it's not for you, you're just like, yeah, that game looks awesome, you know.
Yeah,
Black
for
Myth
sure.
Wukong, and I think Nautica Bloodpoint, I think it was like the recent free to play action RPG that just released. I think that's based by a Chinese developer as well. So, um, I would be surprised if they make like a Chinese acquisition studio or whatever the case may be. What did Walt say? He said, yeah, Glenn Schofield founded it. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
so, yeah, there you go.
All right. So let's talk about Bayonetta really quickly before we get into the PS Plus. So Bayonetta got a release date for October. Let me see.
I think
It's like
October 3rd.
October. No, I think it was like 20. 28th or 22nd or something like that. Um, let's see. Okay, so October 28th, yeah, 28th of this year. So that's great because that's a game that people have been really looking forward to for a really long time. It I don't know. I thought hell would freeze over before we got this game, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. It's actually coming out soon, man. Are you a Bayonetta fan?
Hell yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know
So so
I know I kind of said that like an excited 12-year-old, but yeah, I love
no
Bayonetta,
no
dude.
no. Why is that? Is it just because she's in a tight latex suit, or what's going on there?
It's not because the game actually has like a parental safety mode or anything like
We should talk about that though. So
that.
I find it interesting that like Sony they had the whole thing about, didn't they censor like lady's butt in DMC5 or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. They
So there was
just it's a
that,
white flash like covering her butt in like one
which
scene in the game or like
which is ridiculous. But so there's that, and then of course the Martha is dead thing, which even I'll admit is pretty goddamn gnarly. Um,
yeah, that
but
Martha's Dead was like I can see why someone look at that and be like absolutely not.
yeah. So yeah, there's those two things. They have a history of censoring some things here and there. But my thing is with the Bayonetta thing. So they give you an option if if you're scared of Bayonetta's titties or whatever. They're like they're like hey
You
they're like
scared of
hey
those
you can
720p nipples? Oh man.
yeah yeah. You're gonna have to get the OLED to look in them better, man. But they're like, yeah, if you're scared of them, you can turn it off, or you can censor it or whatever.
Yeah.
My thing is that with PlayStation, like, give us the option, man. Don't make the decision for me. It sounds eerily like something else that's going on in the world today, huh?
Yeah.
Where people are making decisions for you.
Yep.
So yeah, give me the option, man, and you won't see anyone complain about that again. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, there was that whole thing, but overall, how are you? They released a new trailer for Bayonetta 3. How are you feeling about it? How does it look to you?
Yeah, I mean the trailer itself wasn't super like amazing. It didn't exactly blow my socks off, but the thing is I love the Bayonetta series, specifically Bayonetta 2. Like in terms of action games, it was my favorites of all time. Bayonetta Bayonetta 2 stands right next to God of War 3 for me. And it's
Okay.
specifically because of the weapon changes and how fluid it is just to go between different weapons you have as Bayonetta, especially you could attach different ones to her boots and as well as like her arms and stuff like that. And it was just super fun, and they absolutely just went balls to the wall with like what you can do in the game, the cinematic boss fights and just the epic scenes throughout the entire thing. It's so much fun. So I'm expecting the same thing with Bayonetta 3, but with more kaiju battles from what we've seen. Because in the trailer itself, it looked like you're just having more like giants fight each other, and Bayonetta just controlling it from button prompts or whatever the case may be. But knowing Platinum Games, they're going to go all the way with it. So I'm looking forward to that. But I guess in the trailer itself, you actually see a new playable character. It's like a new witch in training, which is pretty cool. So not that I think Bayonetta's going to die or anything like that, but I think they're going to focus a lot on passing down that legacy of witch powers and umber powers and stuff like that. So I think that's really dope. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a full ass anime action game. Um, that's
Yeah,
that's
definitely full ass, man.
yeah, exactly. It's full of ass. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely that. But yeah, either way, it's gonna be a ton of fun. Watt says similar to DMC5 and get more characters. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But the thing is, Bayonetta would be more fun, have more interesting levels. That's for sure.
Definitely will be. That's funny. That was my biggest problem with that game. That's funny.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, dude. I went through DMC5. I'm like, the gameplay is phenomenal, but the levels are boring.
Suck.
Yeah, they're boring, dude.
Fucking suck, man.
And that's what made Bayonetta 2 a lot more fun to me than DMC games, really. It's the level design. It was the color, like the pop, and it's a crime in the gaming industry that Dante and Bayonetta have never met in a game.
Yeah.
because like those two would definitely hit it off. Like I love a collaboration game, but it's not to any surprise that Bayonetta's level designs are much better than DMC games in my opinion. But yeah, either way, I'm looking forward to it.
I
Yeah.
really hope that this game hits for platinum because it feels like they've had some misses recently.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, like I don't know, like I know Astral Train was pretty cool, but like I don't know, it feels like ever since Nier Automata in 2017, they've been kind of like relatively like like middle of the road to
I mean, they
to
released Babylon's Fall this year. It's like this is nice, you know.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm being nice by saying middle of the road, but I could definitely say some other things about them. But yeah, I don't know. I hope that this is kind of like a return to form for them because it definitely feels like it's been a while.
Yeah, Bayonetta was always one of those IPs that like no matter what, like they were giving all their attention to, where other games just didn't really seem like that. Um, and the thing is, like the developers at Platinum Games are talented, man. They really are.
Yeah,
It just seems like they have, from what they have the past 10 years, they have too much hands in the pot. But when it came to Bayonetta, it seemed like that wasn't the case at all. So, regardless, even the trailer looks like okay. I think overall the game itself is just going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad it's actually coming out this year. First of all, like, so thank you
yeah.
Nintendo and PlayStation for releasing amazing games this year.
That's what BG always says, man.
Does he?
Yeah, he's always like, thank you,
Yeah, he's
thank
such a
you,
troll.
Nintendo, PlayStation for actually releasing games this year.
He's such a troll. I mean that still genuinely too, though, because like they're just keeping me busy this year, especially Square Enix, man. Um,
No.
but yeah, so really excited for Bayonetta 3. I'm interested to see what kind of um, gameplay like changes they're going to be doing, especially when it comes to the weapons. This again, that was the biggest highlight for me with Bayonetta 2, which is the weapon changes and the combos you're able to do, and it was just so intricate and a lot of fun just to pull off. It felt like the creativity was just inescapable whenever you just start pressing the buttons there. Everything just flowed so well. So I'm really interested to see what they kind of do with that for this one, how the new character's going to play as, and obviously those big like climactic kaiju fights I talked about before, and what they're gonna do with that. And it seems like they're messing around with a couple of other like cool surprises. Like in the trailers, it seemed like another Bayonetta, like in a different donning like a whole different outfit. Um, and yeah, a couple other characters coming back. So let's see. I'm glad they're keeping the cheeky tone of it. Um, and they finally got a mode for all those people that cry about titties in their video games. So regardless, Bayonetta never shows titties. But regardless, some
Yeah,
people
we
are just really
know.
people are really scared of the side boob, man. It's kind of wild out here.
Yeah, we know Walt is one of them people too.
I scared the side
Yeah,
boob 100%.
yeah,
Speaking
man.
of Walt, what was he saying? He said never play Bayonetta 3, so he's gonna play both of them. Good, as you should. Uh, let's see. He said Platinum Games are the
You
most
know that.
talented. They made one of the worst games this year, and it takes talent in and out of itself. Yeah, man. Walt has a lot to say. If you want to jump in the podcast, might as well.
um, yeah, I mean, it's not like you're doing anything, or
No,
um,
he texted me. He's actually doing something.
you know that Simpsons meme of that guy who's like crying in the corner while like these two like hookers are like trying to dance on him. That's Walt.
Are you saying we're the hookers and we're just dancing in front of Walt as he cries? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I'm saying that him being scared of the side boob.
Yes, yeah.
That's literally him.
Walt's definitely
Um,
scared of side boots for sure.
yeah.
But he faced his fears at
All
Anime
jokes.
Expo though. So
Oh, right. But who's to say that he wasn't crying in the corner over there?
crying in the line
Um,
to get Jessica Negri's autograph.
he's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Like sniffling and coughing and shit. Box of tissues in his hand.
With and
Um,
also a glizzy in his back pocket. Oh man.
oh no. Oh man. Um, But yeah, man, that's Bayonetta 3, man. Nintendo's having a great holiday, or they will have a great holiday. Because Pokemon's coming out in the same time as well. I think Live Alive
Oh
is
man,
coming out soon as well, right?
July 22nd. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
Which they
they're
got a demo
finishing.
out. I gotta start playing that so I can get ready for the game. But
Yeah, so they're finishing the year off strong.
well, he
Um,
said he was literally throwing up and shitting himself. Told you.
hey man, well, congratulations.
You played
Um,
yourself.
from all those glizzies you were eating, man, calm down with the glizzies. Yeah, man. Uh, they don't call him the Glizzy King for nothing. Uh,
Oh man.
but yeah, man. So that's Bayonetta. Last thing that we could close out with is PS Plus. Um,
Yeah, man.
I will run through some of the games that are dropping. I have them here. So obviously, like the big ones are Stray, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, a bunch of Assassin's Creed games, and two Saints Row titles, among a ton of other things. But how are you feeling about this drop? I know the classics specifically was a big disappointment for a lot of people.
100%. Yeah. Did you actually see the Italian? The Italian
Yeah,
was yeah. They actually listed Dino Crisis and like three or two other games besides like the two that we have for North America.
yeah,
I was I was like, dude, what the? Wait, I, we'll get through the positives first, because yeah, the biggest one is there is Stray, right? That the day one PS Plus Premium, and then Final Fantasy 7 Remake Integrate, which so you got no excuse now, man.
I want to own it physically, man.
I know you said this before. I don't know why I keep forgetting it. I keep forgetting it, but it's because I want you to play this damn game. But I think those are big gets, though, right, man? Like Integrate is
Yeah.
just it's a full package now. I remember before there's a controversy before where you couldn't upgrade to the PS5 version of Final Fantasy 7 Remake if you redeemed the PS Plus version of Final Fantasy 7 Remake on PS4. So
Yeah.
looks like they're
I don't
rectifying
got to
that.
worry about that.
uh, there's a lot of worry about that. What do you think about the
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed games coming in, man? I think Black Flag was the headliner.
Yeah, but then Unity was on there. Uh, I, let me see if I can
Saints
pull
Row
it.
too. I think A God of Hell and something
Okay,
else.
so Assassin's Creed Unity, Black Flag, as you said, Assassin's Creed Rogue, the Ezio Collection, Freedom Cry.
Okay.
So it's like they have the Ezio Collection on there, which is cool. Um,
Not
but
updated,
it's
but
not,
okay.
but it's not like any of the current ones for Assassin's Creed games.
Valhalla is already on there, but
Oh, right.
not
True.
Origins. Is Origins on there? But it's
I
part of
actually don't
Ubisoft
know.
Plus, so it has to be on there too, right?
Yeah, so you know what? Like, it's fine. This is it. It's not like one of those drops that's gonna like make me be like, oh, okay, now I have to subscribe. You know what I mean? Especially because I've already played those games, so like
Right.
I'm good. But I guess Ubisoft Plus is like it's good that it's a part of this thing in general. So because it adds value. It's what I wanted. That's why I was hoping things like Crunchyroll and Funimation would be in here because like it's just like adding icing to the cake. So yeah, it's a good thing that Ubisoft Plus is on there. The problem is that Ubisoft don't release good games, so so that would change if they dropped some like Splinter Cell stuff on there though. But yeah, man.
But Stray though, that's a big one. Are you gonna subscribe because of that, or are you just gonna outright buy
I'm just gonna outright buy
it?
it.
That's so funny.
um,
I just think back to last week where like, yeah, you like cats? Like, yeah, they're cute as hell, man.
yeah, man. Have you been seeing the marketing rollout for this game? Is fucking awesome, man. They're doing a really good job with it.
Vaguely, I just know. I think one of the things before I stopped going on Twitter was the God of War like meme with Stray,
So
something
there
like
was
that.
one, like literally like a 5 second clip. I forget the caption, but it was literally just like the cat just like knocking shit over, and then it just like ended with like a big title screen that said "Stray PS5, PS4." Like it was like 5 seconds, and it got like 21,000 likes or something like that. Like it went viral. Um, so
So
it's working, man.
stupid.
It's work. It's
That's so
work.
stupid.
Yeah.
But I respect it though because honestly, one of the best things about what like TikTok and any like these short videos is the cats doing like random shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's it seems like it was what this game is. So, are you gonna stream it still? I'll be happy. I'll be watching. I'll watch it.
Nah, I'm gonna be streaming God of War Ragnarok though on the channel though. So
There you
I'm
go.
definitely yeah
There
definitely
you
doing
go.
that.
Well, I have PS Plus Premium, so maybe I'll stream Stray.
Yeah, maybe.
And I have no interest in it, but see what it's all about.
Oh really? Damn.
I mean, it's cute, but like I'm not like super crazy about it.
All right, all right.
I'll be more in
Oh
it for the memes and like the intricate story of this cat venturing the world.
yeah.
You know, but
Um, it is really interesting that like I don't know. I feel like, and tell me if you agree with this, but I feel like Sony's like really good about picking their indie partnerships. Like
100%. Yeah.
just thinking about like Kana and Sifu more recently, but now like Stray, like these games, like they feel bigger than like the average, like indie partnership or whatever. I don't know. Like it just feels like they're really really smart about the ones that they pick. Like if like the ones that they do pick, it just always feels like a big deal. Like they rival. Maybe this is definitely hyperbole, but it feels like they do kind of like they're not as important as like the big first party studios, but like people are like just as interested. It sometimes feels like
Yeah. No, that's and honestly, it's been like that all year. I felt like Sifu was like the best example of that. Um,
yeah,
that game was just incredible, man. You haven't played it still, right?
right, right.
That well, yeah, that one is definitely has to be on your must play list before the end of the year. It's so good. And then you guys mentioned Kena before. Um, and again, we got like some other indie rollouts throughout the rest of the year too, like Inscription and everything, and now Stray. Yeah, I agree. I think like their indie rollout for this year has been really, really good. Um, and there's a couple of indies that kind of flew under the radar that they missed that were
Solar
like,
Ash
yeah,
last year was
yeah,
great.
yeah,
I really
exactly.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to more of the stuff that they have pumping out. And again, a lot of indies that are coming out in like in the next couple months are going to be really cool. Cult of the Lamb is another one I've been championing. Like I said before, Inscription, which we talked about at the end of the year last year, that we kind of all agree that we all wanted to play it. Finally getting
Yeah.
a PlayStation 5 release. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see if River City Girls 2 is going to be in that lineup, man. I'm looking forward to that game a lot.
Yeah.
Or even Hollow Knight
Um,
Silk Song. That's a big one. So,
the first one is on PlayStation, right?
yeah, yeah. First one's on, I think it's on the service too, actually.
Oh.
So, we'll
Um.
see if they scoop that one up. But, yeah.
Yeah. So. I mean, so obviously the PS Classics was disappointing for you as well.
Absolutely.
Um.
Yeah.
I so like
Sucks.
I go on Reset Era a lot, and there are some people who are like, oh, the service is like, it's gonna be like if this is the rollout, like I don't believe in it now. Like I'm done with the service. Um, and like I know this is sounding like damage control, but like I just feel like Rome wasn't built in a day, and like yeah, like I would love it if their content rollout for this was a little bit more substantial than there's two entries. Like that sucks for sure, but like I don't know. I just kind of feel like we have to give it some time, if that makes sense. Like I don't know. Like it I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yes. I still don't want to give them that extra room to breathe, to be honest.
And
Now,
I'm gonna say then like I feel like people shouldn't have subscribed so early.
yeah,
They
yeah,
probably should have waited until this thing filled out a little bit more. Some PS classics actually started appearing on there. Um,
yeah, that's fair.
so But that's the classic thing about being like early adopters. You know, y'all are the sacrificial lambs. Y'all are the guinea pigs, man. Y'all are the ones that let me know I shouldn't be subscribing right now.
Okay, jerk.
So I appreciate your service.
You stupid. What it was? Walt said, looking forward to playing The Last of Us on PS3. I only saw videos of it, man.
Hey, man. Was that response like, what, 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's probably listening back. He said drip feeding like Nintendo and their subscriptions. That's what I don't like, dude. Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, I understand the perspective of giving them time to really, like, figure out a good flow and how this works and stuff like that. But, like, I'm not giving them any excuses when it comes to their classic stuff because literally the bed is made. They have all the toys there. So why can't they just actually have a good, consistent rollout when it comes to just their the platform releases? So, like, my idea, at least, instead of having just two, right, just two and a month from PSP games, that one of them we have like I never even heard about, and the other one's about Loco Roco Paradise, something like that. Like, so who's gonna be? I'm sorry, who's gonna be playing that? Like, come on now, like that's not gonna get my Jimmy's dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not gonna get me excited. But what would get me excited is if, and I mentioned before too, if we were to do like a 1 or 2 games per platform every month. And that's not really counting the PS3 stuff because that's really streaming. Like, one from PSP, one from PS2, one from PS1, or at least 1 or 2, or at least the case may be. I think that kind of rollout will be a lot more exciting because it gives people a lot more options other than just 2 PSP games that no one's really heard of. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, to me, that was just like, you're not even playing it safe. You're just playing it lazy, it seems like, and it just feels like you're just kind of just like things like you just don't care. Exactly, you just feel like you just don't care. And on top of that, dude, like, I don't think it's too much to ask when you're paying extra money for this tier. Like, people literally pay like what, $20 extra in their tier just for 2 PSP games.
Yeah.
Like,
that's fair.
I don't know if you've seen the actual gameplay for the first one. I forgot what it was called, but it's like literally you're guiding this non-controlled NPC through a puzzle with a grinding axe. You know, like, really? You know what I mean? So like, so like, if there were like amazing PSP games, I wouldn't be complaining. But like the fact that it's like really small stuff, like that rollout is super disappointing for people that are paying extra money. Like, you gotta make it worth the money if you're gonna charge people extra like that. So that's why I said like at least 1 to 2 per console. And the thing is too, why are they holding out for the Slide trilogy on PS3, the Ratchet trilogy on PS3, Infamous 1? Like, you see what I mean? Like, the toys are there, they're ready to be taken and played with, but they're not doing it. So that's where the frustration is coming in. But yeah, that's overall like kind of like where my disappointment was from that. And you're right. I am the guinea pig. I am the adopter. You don't have to get this. You don't have to get these games. You don't have to be a sucker like me. I mean, specifically, the only reason why I actually got to I upgrade to the premium tier was because there's enough games on there to justify my purchase after upgrading. Because
that's all that matters, man.
Yeah, because each game, each upgrading or each like classic game, it's like around like $6 to $10. So after adding up everything, I was like, okay, well, that's more than my upgrade price, so it's worth just getting the year of premium. And I ended up playing those games anyway, so still trying out a couple of them. So yeah, I mean, it's really all based on what you're looking for in that value. But as of right now, for that highest tier, you're not getting your Dino Crisis right now. We know that was kind of shadow dropped in the PlayStation Italy, but disappeared.
You have to assume that that's coming soon, Right.
You would assume so. I mean, the fact that Resident Evil Director's Cut is on there, and
Which
that's
is
such
cool.
that's such a like that's such an oddball.
Right? Like you don't expect that.
Yeah, not at all. It like for some reason it Resident Evil Director's Cut, but then we can't get Dino Crisis. So like, so it's little stuff like that, man. I can forgive not putting on Crisis Core because you're getting the remake and all that stuff, but regardless, yeah, it's. I think they need to make it more worth it. And right now, it's definitely dry.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
fair. That's fair.
yeah.
Let's hope that that next time, because even like this last drop, it was mainly Ubisoft stuff. So let's hope that there's like a little bit more like that they prioritize more of the classics versus the other stuff. But I wonder if like their stats so far are saying that there's more people subscribing to what is it, the extra tier that gets you the PS4 and PS5 games, right?
I think it's premium. I think it's
Okay,
is it the last one premium and then the first? I don't know. They should have just honestly named it platinum, gold, silver.
for sure, for sure. Um,
But yeah, basically the
but
one that give you all the PS4 and PS5 games that's honestly the best value.
right. So I wonder what is like the method to madness there. Like, are they seeing some stats that people are more subscribing to that tier versus the one that gets you the classics? So they're just like naturally want to prioritize those people by adding more PS4 and PS5 games there, as opposed to classics, or is it just harder to get the classics on there? I'm guessing that's probably why, but yeah, I don't know because like you said, like they do have like there's a bunch of games on PS Now that just aren't on this service as it is today. So like I don't know, it's weird that that's an issue as well. I don't know, man. There has to be some weird thing that I don't know. It's preventing them from doing things that just like on paper seems like a no-brainer, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean, we're talking about games, at least specifically, we're talking about games that they have. We're not
Yeah,
even touching like Dino Crisis or like any other third party games that they will have some trouble getting through to do that rewind feature to be upscaled or whatever the case may be to get that thing running on PS5, right? But we're talking about games specifically like that they have that they own, you know, Lammer Jammy, Parappa the Rappa, like
yeah.
they know that other PS2 games exist other than Jack and Daxter, right?
Oh man.
Just saying.
Uh, yeah, man. Well,
Especially
no,
when it
I
comes
know.
to Sly Cooper, man. Like they're doing our boy dirty. You can't even find him on the PS Store.
Tragedy, man.
You,
Tragedy.
you know what version of Sly Cooper you can't find on PS Store though?
Oh no.
Little Big Planet.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say Thieves in Time, and I was about to be like, oh man,
No, I don't think you can even find out. I didn't see it.
Jesus,
So,
man.
so yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a big discrepancy here, especially for their service, and I'm not a happy boy. I'll just say that.
Yeah, man. I don't like that.
Yeah, me neither.
Um,
Me neither. By the way, I think the
uh,
service itself is really good, but yeah, that extra that last tier needs a lot of work.
yeah, for
So,
sure.
Sis
I'm curious to
Shimmy,
see.
please work on it.
I'm curious to see how it's gonna look like in a year from now. If we're still gonna have these complaints, or if it's a little bit more fleshed out. We shall see.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for the podcast, man. We got through our topics. So let's get started on some of these outros. Macho, do you have anything going on this week?
Yeah, we definitely have that DNF duel going down today. I'm a little nervous, specifically because one of the guys in the chat was like, "Hey, can we do infinites?" I'm just like, "Oh God." Anytime someone asks if they can do infinites in a tournament, and it was banned, so like that's a no. But the fact that someone could pull off an infinite is kind of has me quivering my boots.
Oh
um,
man.
but uh, but yeah, man, we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. Either way. It's gonna be a lot of fun for people that want to watch. It's gonna be on Jay Bari's channel, which is Jay Bari. It's gonna be on his YouTube channel. Um, Well, you're not even in the podcast right now, so you can just stay in your little corner right now. I'm gonna ignore your comment. Hee. um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a ton of fun. And hopefully I win. I get that prize money, baby. Uh, and then Final Fantasy 14. I'm getting more into that, especially with all the Hildebrand quests and just trying to get that into the normal flow of my schedule. And I'm looking forward to Live Alive, Xenoblade 3 in another week, dude. We're starting to get more headways into the gaming season, so I'm really excited. And obviously learn more about 3D animation and actually get serious about that. So it's gonna be a packed week, filled with lots to do for myself. So I'm looking forward to it. Which, by the way, so before we actually close out, are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
Uh, I wouldn't call myself like a hardcore fan, but like, yeah, I saw the original trilogy.
Oh, okay. Are you planning on watching the Rings of Power by any
Yeah,
chance?
I'll watch it because Amazon shows are pretty good.
Yeah, the latest trailer, they got the fanboy in me going, dog.
I
I'm
I'm
so
like,
excited for Rings of Power. Again, another show. Something else that comes out on my wedding day. It's just a tragedy, but I have to wait to watch it.
yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, it looks
that's that's
good.
another that's another incentive for you to finally sub to Amazon Prime, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, my fiance already has a Prime membership because she's a student.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So I've been kind of just been mooching off of her stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah,
as
but
you should.
overall, Rings of Power looks incredible, and I can't wait to actually see that. It's gonna be so good. But yeah, man, that's just
Mhm.
about it. I'm just gonna be chilling this week and getting a lot done personally. So lots of gaming to do.
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, me as well, man. I will continue to chip away at Elden Ring. We'll see how far I get. Um, I finished the academy, which was really cool. I really, really love that area. Um, and I've kind of just been exploring Caelid a little bit. I hate it, um, but yeah,
Yeah, Kayla is that definitely threw you for a loop. Did you get accidentally transported to there?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, Early in the game,
through a chest,
I
right? Yeah, that happens quite a bit.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But like, at the same time, you can run away from the chest before they take you, so like, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've done that. Like the moment I don't see like a shiny item, or like I start to see that fog coming up, I just sprint out.
Yeah, yeah. Walt
So yeah,
says the damn dino dogs and birds. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the dino dogs are pretty gnarly.
why 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 are the dog every fucking From Software game, the dogs are the most deadly enemy, man. Why, man? So
Because it keeps
fucking
the
stupid.
same animation. That's why.
Oh no. Oh man.
That's exactly why. Yeah, Walt said you
Yeah.
never seen Lord of the Rings movie, dude. Yeah, get on that. Those are
I
incredible
didn't
movies.
I didn't see any of them until 2019. My flight from back from London to Miami was like 8 hours. So I was like, you know what? Let me just knock these out. Like they were all on like the little. So I probably didn't watch them in the best way because they were all on like the little airplane like TV shit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I mean, still, like, I really enjoyed. It was awesome, man. Just like chilling for 8 hours, just like going back to back to back. It was really great.
Yeah, it's an experience. You gotta watch the extended editions though. They fill in so much, not like gaps in storytelling, but they provide so much more context to Boromir and Faramir and just the journey between Frodo and Sam too. Like it's those extended editions are just incredible. It's a whole day's worth of doing, but it's worth it.
Nice.
You get so immersed into it. It's really great. But
But
yeah,
yeah, that's pretty much it for me. More Young Justice, obviously, as well.
yeah, I
On
gotta start
top
watching that
of
too, man.
yeah, it's great, man. It's fucking awesome. But yeah, man, that's gonna do it for us. I want to remind everyone to like the podcast, share it out.
I want
Once
to
again,
ask you one
spread.
thing though. That how is the Maleficent Seven? I know you started
It
reading that last week, but I wanted to get your update because I saw it on the Kindle store and I was very intrigued.
it's it's okay. The
Mm.
thing is that like I was reading reviews and like that's obviously like what at the end of the day convinced me to buy it. But like the reviews were saying that oh this is like one of the funniest books like I've ever read and you know the banter between the group the crew is so good and like I haven't really like I don't think I've like laughed genuinely like once so far. Like there's definitely jokes happening, but but I'm not laughing at any of them.
Okay.
Um, if anything, I would recommend You Die When You Die. That would be like if you're looking for something truly funny, but also like brutal, and it's also like about Vikings as well. Read You Die When You Die. It's fucking awesome. Like just the character names alone. Let me go off on a tangent really quick.
Please do.
The character names. So one of them is this is also kind of like an ensemble book. So it's about like a village of Vikings who like their village gets like completely ransacked and all the villagers kind of band together and they have to go off on this journey to like another land. But they all have fucking weird names. Like one of them is Yarny Chickenhead. Uh, one of the girls is called Sasa Lip Chewer.
Oh god.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's basically like they get these names when they're kids. Like shit that they do is as kids kind of sticks with them for like the rest of their lives. There's another one, a girl named Teary Tree Legs because she's got like really thick thighs. Um,
The
um,
trunk thighs. Yeah, love to see it.
yeah. One of the kids is called Odor the Moaner because he just fucking screams all the time.
Oh, so Wall.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, pretty much. Another kid, another kid is called Freitas the Annoying. So, so
Wow,
like,
Wall's played two characters in this book. Oh man.
oh man. Uh, um, one is one is called Fisk the Fish because he's got like eyes that are like bulging like a fucking fish.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like I don't know, like that's that. Another one's called Gun Hill Christ Lover because like she because she literally just talks about like fucking like their version of like Jesus Christ like all the time. It's like yeah. So like that gives you an idea of like and they're all fucking quirky and weird and hilarious and it's a trilogy of books and it's really cool because while they're going off in search of like a new village the villains of the story is basically this like band of like alchemically powered female warriors. All of their powers come from animals. Like there's one who's like she has the speed of like a pronghorn. There's one that's called Chogalisa Earthquake, so she's like super strong. But they're all like aside from her, but like they're all mostly named after their like power animals as well, and they all specialize in like a specific weapon. So they're all really really cool and interesting and funny as well. Um, so yeah, so
That
what I'm trying
sounds
to say is
awesome.
like yeah, what I'm trying to say is like read that book. It's really really cool. Um,
Wall says Jay the taint tickler and Macho the pew puller.
oh man. um
Oh god.
But yeah, man, I'll send you a picture of it in the chat so you can check it out.
Cool,
Um,
cool.
yeah, but yeah, man, that is it for me. I'm still reading that book, by the way. I'll get through it because it's not the longest book, but yeah, it's just okay.
Okay.
But yeah, man, that's gonna wrap it up for the podcast, guys. We will catch you guys next week. Um, Probably with Stray impressions, right? Because Stray will be out, and I'm assuming we'll all be playing it. So
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll see how it is.
cool.
Might
So
as
yeah,
well. It's on the service. I'll check it out.
right.
As long as I have to pay for
So
it. As long as I have to pay for it, I'm cool. I'm fine.
hey, man, that's that Game Pass effect. You know, people don't be paying for games. So
It's the brainwash. It's already infecting me. Oh
it's
no.
already happening, man. I already see the subscription service people begging for roller drome to be free on the service.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man, it's crazy. It's already happening.
For sure. Yeah,
But
as
yeah,
what
man.
Walt B already said. Is it on PS Plus?
Yep, exactly. Oh man, dude, I'm not looking forward to that. God damn it. It's it's literally Game Pass all over again. God damn it. But yeah, man, that's it for us. We will catch you guys next week for episode 70. Peace out, guys.